Hi, everybody. I'm Gene Simmons, and you're not. And you are listening to the #1 KISS podcast, Shout It Out Loudcast, with Tom and Zeus. But you knew that. Now get out of here.
Oh, boy. Here we go. This is Gene Simmons. Put that cookie down, KISS. Stop pressing the button. Stockbroker Simmons. Star? Stanley. Is that what he does? Stop shouting. My name is Riley. He's not what you would call a handsome man. Oh, no. Here come the KISS times. Is that a positive thing? Okay. All right. I'm going to grab me an ice cold mellow yellow. Why? Why do that to the fan? Stop it. Why? Because fuck them. That's what I'm talking about. 617-525-0850. You do? Hey, fucko. Do you like KISS? Settle down.
Hello. Hey, what's up there, KISS Army? Tom and Zeus with another episode of Shout It Out Loudcast, episode 230. Bob Kulik and KISS with Bruce Kulick. Wow.
Hey, guys. Oh, come on. We love Bruce.
We got Bruce already to start the show.
Bruce just jumped right in.
Hey, guys. Bruce Kulick talking about some of the songs my brother Bob did. Wow. I'm a legend tonight.
What a playlist. What a playlist. No, we love Bruce. Bruce knows we tease him with that, but yeah, what a friggin' fantastic episode we have for you guys. This is just, oh my goodness. These are the episodes where we get like super excited.
Yes. I will get more detail into it, but you guys cannot wait to hear this. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yep.
Anyway, Tom, life is good over here. I hope life is good for you. We are entering summer months, summertime. My kid is out of school. Your kid is home from first year in college.
That's right.
And no complaints, right?
You just turned 50. I turned 50 in less than a month.
Oh, yes. Thank you, buddy. I want to thank everybody out there for all the birthday wishes, kind words. I want to thank Hall of Famer, Shout It Out Loudcast Hall of Famer, once again, Jim Riley.
Yep.
Who got a cameo for us, well, for me, from our good friend Todd Kearns. And Todd wished me a happy birthday. He was wearing his Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup t-shirt, which, you know what? I love it. Bruce Cassidy, the coach, lived in Arlington, coach of the Boston Bruins. So there's a couple Bruins connections there. I'm happy Vegas won. Good for them. Good organization. And what a thoughtful gesture. Jim Riley, you are the best. Todd, thank you so much. Love the kind words, and we'll get together. And at one point I said to Tom, you know, I could have just texted Todd, but that's all right. It was such an awesome gesture.
That's how Jim's in the Hall of Fame. That's a Hall of Fame move right there.
Well, I think it's him and was it Lisa Sparks and Peter North and the other people that he purchased. Well, this one was a little bit better.
Yeah, he went clean for your birthday. So
yes,
very nice.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated to everybody out there with the kind words and stuff. And we got somebody else coming up with the 50th. I might just let you guys know about this. Tom and I are trying to figure out. We're going to do a mutual possible birthday celebration.
Yep.
I'll be going on a little field trip to Greece for a couple of weeks coming up at the end of July and August. When I get back, we're thinking about doing something together. And if we do, and we celebrate it, we are going to open it up, invite anybody who wants to come up from the Loudcasters. You got to come up towards the Boston area though, and come join us in a celebration of 50 years for Tom and I, and let's have some fun.
Yeah, that would be insane. Yes. Well, stay tuned for that. There'll be more information as details get a little bit more put together for us. So, yeah.
Now, what we always do is we always look back to last week's episode. And last week we had a discussion about Ultimate Classic Rock's article that they posted about the 10 weirdest KISS songs. And, of course, we did a poll, and Tom's going to tell us all about it.
Yep. So we took 4 of the songs from the article and put them in a poll. Which do you think is the weirdest? This was arguably our closest poll we've ever had, I think, in all the episodes of Shout Out Loudcast. So the options were Great Expectations, Going Blind, When You Wish Upon a Star, and Just a Boy. Just a Boy wins the poll with 28%. When You Wish Upon a Star at 27%. Great Expectations at 23%, and Going Blind at 22%. So it looks, incredible. Looks like nobody could really decide what's going on. Let's see a couple comments here. Party Man says, Great Expectations was really strange as an 8-9-year-old that had started with Alive 2, and Dynasty. Looking back now, they were way ahead of that symphony thing before bands started to do it. Good point. Robert Marr says, if it's covered by the Melvins, you know it's weird. Going Blind. Yep. Derek Rolando, I love Going Blind, but I was also 12 years old trying to understand what these songs meant when I first heard them on my cassette Walkman, and this one evoked all kinds of weird thoughts. Yeah, I think you are right there, Derek. Let's see what we got for the episode here itself. Oh, Brad Baird, one of our buddies on Patreons, of course, puts a GIF together of the little drummer boy with all the animals. Go to him.
Go to him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Our buddy Wally Vidal. My pick for weirdest KISS song is That You? A song that's not technically a cover, but written by someone outside the KISS camp. Interesting. And then we got one more here from Aggie Dad and Tiger Grad. Great episode, but let's call out the highlight. Jan Terry. What in the Sony Betamax mullet-wearing, Fonzie jacket-wearing, limo-riding, third-grade production piece of mess did I just discover? And she has a documentary, too. And he found this incredible piece of art with Jan Terry doing the devil horns holding the guitar. Oh, my God. Awesome. Love it. Love it.
That Jan Terry video is
it's amazing.
Social media legacy out there.
Yeah. I told somebody I think we can probably get a cameo. We just have to figure out what bridge she's living under before we can get her to record it. So
I love the comments under her YouTube videos. One, her rocking it out in such a beautiful scene. Especially love the sewer pipe that's behind her in that river.
Oh, nothing.
She's at.
I mean, when you're trying to turn somebody on, you Jan Terry in a sewer pipe. Oof.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes.
And that's Twitter.
Thank you. Over on our Book of Face, Kevon Japson.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
I love that we got fish discussions 2 weeks in a row. You fuckers kill me.
Oh, boy.
Jason Warden doesn't like the fact that My Way was on that list. Okay, first of all, My Way is nowhere near weird. It's Paul preaching the gospel of believing in yourself, which I appreciated as a teenager in '88, going through some teenage angst. Has aged well? No, but it will always have a special meaning to me. Joey Romanek, America's favorite realtor.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one that doesn't hate Great Expectations?
Well, I don't hate it. It's just not something that I want to listen to.
Ryan Michael Kulick Lane, Simmons Tweed, Courtney Cronin Dold, Michael Scott, Spencer Cook. I agree there isn't really any weird KISS songs, but maybe 50% of the Elder would qualify. Great Pearl Jam reference and even greater Jan Terry reference.
Oh,
really
God.
Funny episode. I ordered some new shirts.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
ShoutItOutLoudcast.com. You can go and get all your Shout It Out Loudcast merch. Go there to our website.
That's right. By the way, as we speak right now during this recording, we're getting text messages from our buddies Jeff Trott and Gary Kapp on their way to quarantine. Wednesday, June 29th, 4:49 p.m. Eastern time. These guys are road tripping to the show.
As we tell them earlier in a text to PJ and Chris, hey, good luck on the show, guys. Kick ass. Sorry we missed it.
What was Jericho's response?
Oh, you're too cheap to go.
I know. Geez, having a fucking real job sucks.
On a Thursday. I don't have a 14-year-old kid here.
Hey, boss, I was wondering if I could, I got to leave early and head to Ohio, so I won't be in tomorrow. Was everything okay? Yeah, I just got to go see this 80s KISS tribute band with this wrestling guy, Chris Jericho. That's not a problem, right?
Should have rolled back. Oh, we're getting this version of Chris. All right. I'll leave you be. God bless them. Those guys rock. You guys are going to have an awesome time at the show. I'm telling you. I know
it's going to
as we talked about them a couple episodes ago, Chris and the gang, they probably have something up their sleeve. You guys are going to fucking love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right. Adam Nierenberg. Hey guys, just listen to the episode. I think Ultimate Classic Rock wasn't listening hard enough to the catalog. Although weird is subjective, there are KISS songs with unusual elements in them. And spoiler alert, quite a few on Carnival of Souls. But nevertheless, my list would include It Never Goes Away. Although this is my favorite KISS song, it has psychedelic elements, Black Sabbath elements, and is not your typical 4-to-the-floor rocker. Seduction of the Innocent. KISS goes Middle Eastern type sound. Going Blind. This is Gene doing the theme from Imaginary Western by Jack Bruce. All Hell's Breaking Loose. KISS does rap. Love theme from KISS Acrobat. Pure instrumental. The only other instrumentals catalog. Escape from the Island. And if you want to count Fanfare. The Japanese one you couldn't pronounce is Samurai Son. But there's the other one that they did. Once again, thanks for making my Saturday mornings more enjoyable. Look forward to every episode. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that.
Nice.
Over on our Loudcasters group, Tom, our buddy Cameron Holiday mentions, I'm surprised Don't Touch My Ascot from Rock and Roll Mystery wasn't included. It's odd, but good.
Nice.
Yeah. Our over on our Instagram page, Tom, our writer extraordinaire, James Campion.
Yeah, James.
Show.
Working on that Prince book,
guy.
too. Yes.
He's working on a Prince book.
Yes.
That's true.
Gonna be
He had
awesome.
the Beatles book just come out.
Yep.
And obviously he is the author of that awesome book about Destroyer.
Yes.
He loves that photo that you put up, Tom, that you found for us with KISS in the choir.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you just wrote, I love that photo.
Yep.
It is kind of legendary out there. Now over to our YouTube page, Mr. Antonio, hot off the presses, Ace Frehley and Jan Terry are joining forces.
Oof.
They're in the studio right now doing a cover of the Stevie Wonder hit, I Just Called to Say I Love You. Oh, my God. Hey, I just called to say I love you.
Me too, Ace. It's funny. We kind of sound similar.
Gee, and I was wondering if you have any Mellow Yellow, because I ran out when I went out to go buy a box of cashews. I couldn't find any Mellow Yellow, so I ended up just having a couple slices of Roni.
For a hot chick, Jen. I like that sewer pipe. May come in handy for me later.
Hey, Jan, while you're singing this song, do you mind if I take a nap near the sewer pipe? Just make sure I don't fall in. I need Gene to come rescue me if I fall into the water again.
Oh, God.
Our buddy Joe Morris, who we met at the Gene Simmons event, Tom.
Yeah.
Good episode, boys. Joe and Audra are listening.
Yeah, Joe and Audra. Love those guys. Woo.
And he also mentions, what about Freak, Tom?
Oh, I know. I think I did chime in on that lyrically. It's kind of weird, just kind of being like a little whiny. Bleh. Song's awful. Ugh.
About the Funk wrote, Fish Alive too.
Oh.
All right,
God.
Tom, back to you.
All right, let's blow through a couple emails here. We got one from Mike H. That's actually interesting. He brings up a good point that very weirdly I agree with, and it's funny that he kind of thought of this. He says, I've always thought about Thrills in the Night was the weirdest song in their catalog for the reason that the verses don't match the music until the chorus hits. It always caused me anxiety listening to that song because it sounds like two songs at the same time until the chorus comes in to level everything out. Other songs may be subjectively weird, but this one is the weirdest. Mike, I totally agree. That's why I don't like Thrills in the Night. The verses are so weird. Then the chorus comes in. I'm glad you pointed that out because I'm glad somebody agrees with me. That's why I do not like that song. It doesn't sound right.
Well, it seems like verses like he's almost talking and telling a story.
Yeah, but even musically, it's kind of like it's weird.
Like, yeah. I like the song. I think it's really
it's all right. Steve Houvain, fellow Patreon. 1993, I got the Melvins Houdini album and heard their version of Going Blind. My KISS fandom had waned during my high school and college years, and honestly, I didn't remember ever hearing the KISS version. But this version reignited my passion for 70s KISS conveniently just before Unplugged and the reunion tour in 96. And it's one of my favorite KISS songs, even though I agree the lyrics are stupid. I actually met Buzz from the Melvins and got to tell him how important that song was to me, and he was stoked since he's a huge KISS fan. Fast forward to 2021, and my passion for KISS was at another low point, and I heard you guys for the first time on your episode when you reviewed Killers. Not only did I not know Killers had original songs, but your show continued to open my eyes to 80s KISS that I really had never considered to be legitimate, and now I think I may like 80s KISS more than 70s KISS. P.S. I like My Way too. P.P.S. Fish. All right, hold on. This is so dumb. God, we got a great email from our buddy Alex A.J. White up in New Hampshire, fellow Patreon. We got another good one here from James Thompson, chiming in about trying to defend My Way, saying it's far from a weird song. Agree with that. And then we finish up our emails here with our buddy Scott Greer. Hello, Tom and Birthday Boy. Good episode on the weird KISS songs. I pulled a muscle in my back yesterday working on my boat, and I should have known better than to listen to your new episode. The sounds made during the conversation about Japan made me laugh out loud, causing shooting pain in my back. So fuck you for making me laugh. My question isn't KISS related per se, but about your show. In the intro, you guys give out part of a phone number. What the heck is the story on that? Thanks for the constant entertainment and laughs. Have you ever tried Mellow Yellow in cold gin? Asking for a friend, Scott. Well, first of all, Scott, thank you for listening to us while hurting yourself and cleaning your boat. We appreciate that. We appreciate the Mellow Yellow reference. And no, I will never drink Mellow Yellow in cold gin. And we will get to your question in a second. But first, we want to say that you are the comment of the week. Because anytime we can imagine somebody cleaning their boat and hurting themselves just makes us laugh.
Good answer. Good answer. I like the way you think. I'm going to be watching you.
So, Zeus, anything to say about that phone number that we read a little bit in the beginning?
All right. So we've told that story before, but, it's probably a long time ago. Sometimes new listeners jump in different part of the elevator on the floors, as Paul Stanley likes to say. We listened to sports radio in Boston. There was a guy named Ted Sarandis, some old kind of curmudgeon guy with old fashioned about things.
Yep.
And, sometimes you could tell he wasn't paying attention. So people would be like, after the Red Sox won the World Series finally since 1918, they used to joke. So people would call him and be like, Ted, this is the greatest moment. I took a championship shirt and brought it to my dad's grave. He was a lifelong Red Sox fan. This championship means more than just sports to me. It's a celebration. Me and my father, and I put the hat there and I put a shirt there, and it's just really emotional.
617-775-0850.
He would not comment. He would just go read off the call number. And so the guy must have been like, what the fuck?
So it became part of our show because there would be moments where I would say something to Zeus or Zeus would say something to me. And it would just be like this awkward silence, like this unexpected. And we all of a sudden were just like, 617-085-0850, whatever it was. That was
we shouldn't laugh at the poor guy's story, but it wasn't even that. It blew over it.
But it wasn't even just something like serious and emotional. Be like, hey, Teddy, great Patriots game. I think if they can really focus on that run game, I think they might have a chance at the playoffs. 617. It's like,
and there's other things. The guy was a funny character. He had some quirks about him. But anyway, that's the story.
You waited on hold for 20 minutes to make that joke. Anyways,
Curmudgeon.
but Scott, that's it, buddy. So hope you get a kick out of that.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, what we do next is we give a shout out to our Patreon family. Patreon is where people come on and support the show, and they get some perks back from us. And Tom, like a broken record, we keep breaking our own record.
Incredible.
We had another 3 members join.
Unbelievable.
Since our last episode. That's insane.
Yep.
Let's welcome Mike Throne, Trent Bally, and Joseph Collins, all joining as Spaceman members. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. And, last couple weeks, a lot of you guys have been joining. It helps the show. Honestly, if you like what you hear, you want us to continue, you want us to continue to grow, you want to support us, the best way to do it is go on and become a Patreon member. You go to our website, go to it at shoutitoutloudcast.com. Right on the landing page there's a button there. Click on Patreon. You click on that. You look at the 4 tiers that we have, obviously named after the characters in the band, Catman, Spaceman, Star Child, and Demon. And you find a tier that fits your needs and what you want to do. You guys get involvement in the show. There's merch. There's video chats that we do. There's DMs. There's a family of Patreon members. And now this is always our favorite time for Patreon because we are selecting the new Patreon pick for Album Review Crew. Mm-hmm. And the conversations in there are hilarious.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
And it's all in the Patreon family. We can't thank you guys enough. And again, if you want to help us out, Patreon, you go to our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com, click on Patreon, or you can go to the app, Patreon, or you can go to patreon.com. You just search in creators, Shout Out Loudcast, will come up, and hopefully you'll join and become part of the family. Thank you again to Mike, Trent, and Joseph.
Yeah, amazing. This is incredible, the support we're getting from you guys on a consistent basis. We cannot thank you enough. Joseph, Trent, and Mike, thank you guys so much for joining the family, and to everybody else that's part of the family. Tons of great stuff. Again, picking the ARC album, getting some sneak peeks at the episodes, voting on Flashback Friday things that we try to post, and just a family chat that we have on the app or on the website, whatever you're choosing to access Patreon. It's a great time. So please check it out and join the family. We appreciate it very much.
Tom, what we do next is we hop over to KISS World. But before we go to KISS World, I want to read something that it's an event that's going on. It's from one of our great listeners, Brandon Stout. Mm-hmm. And it's about Changing Hands Bookstore in Arizona. And we mentioned them before in the past.
Yes, we have.
So let's do a quick shout out to our friends at Changing Hands Bookstore in Arizona, who reached out to us to let us know that they're hosting an event that might and should be interest to our listeners. Turns out that a ton of rock stars over the years, including all 4 original members of KISS, as part of their book tours, have gone to Changing Hands Bookstore in Arizona.
Nice.
Well, now they're bringing in Songwriter Hall of Fame inductee Holly Knight to their Tempe store. So she'll be there Thursday, July 13th, with her book, I Am the Warrior, My Crazy Life, Writing the Hits and Rocking the MTV 80s. Both Tom and I have the book. It's fan-fucking-tastic. A lot of KISS stuff in there, guys, just so to let you know.
Yep.
So if you listen to the podcast, you probably know Knight's history with KISS goes way back to the late 70s when Anton Fig played drums in her band Spider. Knight also played keyboards on Unmasked, dated Paul Stanley, went on to write a number of songs for the band, including Hide Your Heart, Raise Your Glasses, I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll, Tom.
Mm-hmm. One of the best songs ever written.
She also wrote mega hits for Tina Turner, Pat Benatar, Patti Smythe, and co-wrote songs like Ragdoll from Aerosmith, Stick to Your Guns with Bon Jovi, and Obsession with the great Michael DeBar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the Phoenix area, don't miss the promotion and have a fun event at Changing Hands Bookstore. You can listen to Holly talk about the book, ask her some questions, get your book signed, take a photo with her. Again, the event is 7 p.m. Thursday, July 13th at Changing Hands Bookstore in Tempe, Arizona. You can go to Changing Hands, just as it sounds, .com. That's changinghands.com for more information.
Nice. Excellent.
Now, Tom, what's going on in KISS World?
Well, they're still touring right now as we speak. They were going to be playing in Tuscany, Italy. What do we know about Tuscany? Don't try to rent anything. There's nothing available.
There's nothing available there.
There's nothing available. You're trying to tell me that there's nothing? I can't get an outhouse there? Nothing. But there is a little bit of kind of sensational, kind of clickbait style.
Repetitive
news.
shit.
Yeah. Headline on Blabbermouth. Gene Simmons says both Ace Frehley and Peter Criss turned down invitations to perform at KISS's final concert. In a recent interview with Barbara Caserta of Linnea Rock, I don't know what that is, but God bless them, Gene Simmons was asked about the possibility of original KISS members Ace Frehley and Peter Criss making guest appearances at the band's last ever concert in early December at Madison Square Garden in New York City, which we will be at. He responded, quote, for the fans, the older fans, the ones who've been around for 50 years, they're old, and some of them want to see Ace and Peter. The newer fans never saw them, and they don't know. But the older fans wonder about Ace and Peter. Well, I asked both Ace and Peter a few times, do you want to come out for the encores? Do you want to do some shows? And they both said no. So I don't know what to say about that, but it's always welcome. But there are many other big stars, superstars who want to jump on stage and play a song, but we're not sure about that. Maybe the best thing to do is to end the way we started. 4 guys with guitars, no keyboards, no synthesizers, nothing, just playing. Zeus.
All right. The obvious question is, buddy, just because you asked them doesn't mean they're going to go up there and play for free. What did you offer them? Did you offer them something fair?
Exactly.
Or did you just say, come on up? And then are we going to get paid? All right, we'll give you a couple $100. Like, what did you offer them?
Well, the other thing I would have liked a follow-up question. Many other big stars who want to jump on stage and play a song. Who are these people that want to jump?
If they had their way, like David Grohl and things like that, Paul, Paul.
Okay.
He wants to name drop that shit.
And then how about this quote? No keyboards, no synthesizers, nothing, just playing. When is KISS using keyboards and synthesizers on the end of the road?
It's a deflection. It's a red herring.
Yeah.
No one's accused you of that. What they're accusing you of is pulling backing tracks and Paul singing live.
What is that? No, other than Beth, what keyboards are you using? That's a weird comment. Dude.
Whatever. It's the same repetitive kind of stuff. We don't even want to get into.
I know. But other than that, again, it's kind of quiet. They're rolling along. They're in Europe right now, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think Ace is starting to tour again. He's coming back out.
He forgets. He doesn't know. What?
Back on tour? Oh,
I thought Jan Terry and I were doing the Bad Boys tour. Don't forget, Ace Frehley is going to be almost in my backyard soon.
Yeah.
I mean, if I let him, he'll probably sleep in my backyard, but.
Hey, Tom, push over. I couldn't find a cheap hotel. Do you mind if I crash here?
Tom, that shed looks pretty good, but that mower's in the way. You mind just popping that aside?
Hey, can you take my socks off? These bunions are killing me.
Hey, Tom, I know you got a little puppy, but his dog bed looks kind of cozy.
Hey, Tom, what's that song I used to play for KISS that ended concerts? Rock and Roll All Night? Oh, yeah. Do you remember how it goes? I think I want to play it for my show coming up, since I've been doing a lot of Zeppelin tunes, with my fantastic singing voice. And lastly, in KISS news, you're going to hear the episode. Bruce drops a lot of news.
Yes.
So all we'll say to you is please go to brucekulick.com and you'll hear all about it, or go to his YouTube page. And you'll find out a lot of good news that Bruce has got coming up. And he's going to break some in this interview coming up.
Yeah, he drops a couple teasers. He even says that he wanted to kind of use our show as a platform to break some of this kind of exciting Bruce Kulick news. So, I mean, we were honored to have him and to have him do that as well.
Yeah. So before we do, I need one of you guys to help me lift Ace out of Tom's shed, because Tom's got to cut his grass.
All right, we're back, but there was another problem after we helped Ace. He did end up getting stuck in Jan Terry's sewer pipe there, so he's just having troubles all over the place. He can't get up.
Ah, fuck. I'm going to lose one of my favorite socks.
Ace, you can get rubber ducky socks anywhere.
Well, to say we've come a long way, Tom,
Yes.
would be an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to build this up too much.
I do.
But Bruce and us have been talking about doing this episode about the late great Bob Kulick for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's been in the works. We're waiting for the right time, and Bruce obviously knows the right time. And we have a chance to do this and have this incredible conversation with incredible detail, facts, analysis. You name it, Bruce does it. Probably the greatest conversation we've ever had on this show, and we've had some great ones about KISS music. This is a conversation all about the late, great Bob Kulick, his contributions with KISS, with the great Bruce Kulick.
All right, we're back here with one of our favorite guests returning, and he's flying solo tonight. He does not need any introduction, but of course, I'm going to give him one. One of our favorites, one of your favorites, the great, the one and only Bruce Kulick is in the house. Bruce, what's up, buddy?
Hey, here we are. We made it work, right?
We made it work. We made it work.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I have to admit that it's been still a very hectic and busy year. And just in the course of today, besides all the madness of trying to improve my beautiful home in Las Vegas, meaning, the tree trimming, okay, which has to happen twice a year.
Yes.
Those palm, I own palm trees. It's kind of weird, but it's exciting. Yeah. And then to have my handyman come over to go like, it's going to be 110 this weekend. Can we, I can see through the door up there. Can we take care of something there? You know what I mean? Doing stuff like that.
Of course.
And then actually working today with the MVP Todd Kearns,
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. We were looking at some music. So I'm looking at doing another solo record, employing as much as I can and incorporating those guys. Okay.
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
That's great news.
So it's exciting. And he was excited with a couple of the new ideas. We still had some stuff in the can from the pandemic too, but we'll take it one step at a time. Excuse me. So hopefully by 24, I could say they could be like a BK4 kind of record.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's
cool
great
is that?
news. That is great news, Bruce. That's a nice surprise.
Awesome. Sure. Great. Yeah.
I figured
Todd
I'd spring it on you guys,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we love it. We love it. Thank you. That's great.
Anybody that you're always, performing with, we've been fortunate enough to see you on the cruises, Creatures Fest, and performing with Gene again in Las Vegas recently. It's always top notch with you and your band. It's just off the charts. You know how much the KISS fans love it and think of you. And it's funny. Earlier today, I was talking to Tom. I just celebrated my 50th birthday, Bruce. And and one of our Patreon subscribers and shouting out Loudcast Hall of Famer got me a cameo from Todd Kearns.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And Todd wished me a happy 50th birthday. Of course, he had his Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup t-shirt on. And it's just a funny coincidence. I just saw it before we came on. And there's our buddy Todd.
And he could have booked me, this guy, but I was probably too expensive.
I think he's already booked you for us. I think you already did one for us recently.
Okay, he did one.
I think you did one last year for us. And I'm like, we have Todd's number. We could have just called him.
Yeah, I know. No,
but it's all good.
Special about an actual official Zoom. Let me tell you, while we're on that, it's not Zoom. I'm sorry, Cameo. What's amazing is during the pandemic, it was so popular. I could not believe how often I got booked. I was so blessed. I loved it. I played, I chatted, I'd go on. I give them their money's worth. I know that. But then a guy wanted to gift me like a famous hockey player here. He was not that interesting. He didn't know me. He didn't say my name right, but I was still like, oh, cool. This is cool. But the one that really blew me away completely was a guy that I became close with over the pandemic, booked Meatloaf to give me a cameo.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And that he spoke for 45 minutes. It was, probably 3 months or so after, maybe a little longer after my brother passed away.
Oh,
so he was reflecting. Now, you're not communicating like we are in a cameo.
Yeah.
But still, he told story after story, and it was fabulous. And I saved it, and I love it. And there was one other really cool one. I'm a little bit of a Star Trek nerd. Discovery, that show, they seem to be on hiatus now, and they got that guy Saru, the one that wears a crazy, he looks like a crazy alien. Anyway, I'm forgetting his name. It's a real simple name. Maybe Lisa could help me out. What's his name, Lisa? Saru, the actor. Anyway, he gave me one, and I swear to God, just like a Chris Jericho, he's a KISS fan. You know what I mean? So he was so excited to give me a cameo, and I'm freaking out that he's chatting to me.
Oh, you know what
great. I mean? And again, it's during COVID, so they were kind of, iffy about when they were going to film again and when they were going to pick it up, and he's a great character. He actually was in that movie, the water one where he plays like the creature from the Black Lagoon. I forget the meaning of water.
Is his name Doug Jones?
Yes, Doug Jones. That's it. I told you it was a simple name. That's him. And he was a huge KISS fan. It was wonderful.
Wow, that's very cool.
Anyway, cameos are really special for people.
Yes.
So is this podcast. This is special.
Oh, thank you, Bruce. Wow.
You guys, I always was fascinated with you guys, and the more I've been more involved with KISS stuff that you could cover, the more enjoyable it became for me, obviously. So thank you guys for what you do. I think the fans love it.
Thank you, Bruce.
In between our stupid humor, there's some KISS talk in there.
Yeah.
Just a little. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the things we talk about is with you, Bruce, is we wanted to do something as a kind of we do these band member episodes, and we've done one on you where we just go through your career a little bit, personal life, and talk about it. We've done some, we did one Eric Singer. We did one on Peter Criss. We've done a few. Well, one of them is a KISS kind of a family member, and that is your brother, Bob. So we wanted to do an episode about his involvement in KISS, his songs. We came up with a list about 18 songs. And what better way to talk about Bob's KISS involvement than have legendary Bruce Kulick on to discuss it. And you were kind enough to accept this. We finally got to a point where the schedules made sense, and can't thank you enough for joining us to do this discussion. Because me personally, I'm a big Bob fan, especially his KISS work. I praise it all the time. I find that it's very underrated, the songs that he performed on. And I would love to get your thoughts specifically on these songs, and kind of let's do a little bit of a rundown of Bob's involvement in KISS.
Yep. No, this is a great topic. The timing is wonderful, actually, because just recently, excuse me, my allergies in Vegas are terrible. But with Stella passing away in February, there were a lot of things that had to be taken care of by the trustee and everything. And I'm involved because of Bob, and but only through Bob's relationship with her. So it was finally time to have Stella's remains, the beautiful urn that the trustee chose, and Lisa's been helpful, and we got her placed in Hollywood forever, which was always what was going to happen. And Bob is right next to her, so it's kind of a Hollywood ending, for the two of them. Even though, of course, the last about 6 to 7 years, and I could be off by a year or so, of her life was very complicated because she was very ill with dementia that was pretty severe. But she hung on way longer than most people expected. And I'm hoping in the future, Lisa especially, and her son Andrew, who is very, he was another movie director and actor guy, Andrew Stevens, and he knew Gene and all. He was he used to book Shannon in some of those like Skinematic movies when he was doing
the Skinemax movie. His name was Andrew Stevens,
the late night.
Right?
Yep.
But he's going to do a documentary of Stella's life, which obviously her passing away got me a little closer with him, as well as some other people that knew Stella well. Because again, I knew her just my way, which was just through my relationship with my brother. So it was really fascinating for Lisa and I to do that. And then, of course, there we were to pay my respects to my brother again at Hollywood Forever, and even see my folks because they're buried in Los Angeles. Okay. Yeah. So the timing of, and you wanting to celebrate Bob's musical career really makes sense. And I'm really grateful. Good. And I also, in the little bit of prep, and I always prep for things, I say a little, for some people, it might be a lot, but the preparation I did, really, I'm blown away with the body of work, the quality of the work. And then I found more songs that I would wish there was a cruise this year because I would have chosen them. You know what I mean? For my band to do.
Great.
Yeah.
Ironically enough. So
save them, Bruce. Save them.
Yeah. I know. I will save them in my back pocket. everything I listened to, yesterday, Lisa knew the Paul Stanley record front to back. She sang every song while she was busy blinging in the kitchen. And I'm like, you know this song? And she was like, oh, I love it. And I'm going, we should have done this song. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you see what I mean? Yeah. But there was only so much I could do. I mean, that medley that the band put together, the first opportunity I had after my brother's passing was really hard, very exciting. And of course, all those songs are on your list, that we're going to discuss today. But it really blew me away at the body of work and that connection that Bob had with KISS. And all I know is, he auditioned for them. He didn't get the gig. He was there the day they heard Ace 2. They went with Ace. Obviously, that was, the correct choice, although they knew Bob was a fine player. And, I think Bob being busy and talented and being in New York, he would run into them again. And that's what happened. And the next thing you know, they became friends, especially Paul and Bob. And then all of a sudden, I'm not sure how he got the invitation for the first Ghost guitar work, which was incredibly powerful, Alive 2, right? What year would they have recorded Alive 2? I don't even know.
77.
Okay, 77. And Bob just slayed it on that record. And how anyone playing side 4, the studio tracks, don't know something's going on here. Listen to you can't take away anything from Ace. I'm not trying to do that. Ace is iconic. Ace is KISS. And Ace was always, those years, extremely in his prime with his leads. But we know the cracks were starting to happen in the band by especially after that, why they did the solo records even. They had to. They were going to kill each other or something. Right. But Bob had that energy and excitement, same kind of blues riffs, same playbook of Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, British blues guitar players for the most part, but Bob just comes right out of the gate on Alive 3 with All American Man, like unbelievable.
Fantastic. So, totally.
Harmony guitars. Look, I play guitar for a living. I told Lisa this yesterday. I can see every note on the guitar as he's playing it. I could see it. But that didn't mean that it was easy when I needed to learn some of this stuff. I tortured myself over a few songs. And Bob has a certain, I call it his bag of tricks that he would, dig into. And there were variations of them, but I knew every one, but he able to mix them up and fool you and do the stinging vibrato and the regular vibrato and then the whammy bar overbend and then the, exciting, Leslie West kind of like dig into the strings and make the guitar ping. He had his thing. Okay. And I have to say, I heard it all today. You know what I mean? And I loved it. Okay. It was very, very cool. And reviewing these songs in the past 24 hours have been quite exciting for me.
That's wonderful. So if you really look at it, he comes in auditions, doesn't get the gig. What if he got the gig? I'm curious. What do you think? Do you think know. KISS is the same? Does KISS have the same cultural impact? And again, we're not trying to say that, they don't need Ace. Ace obviously was integral, wrote some of the classic KISS songs in the beginning. And I just feel sometimes, like Paul says, in the beginning, he was inventive. He had this great attitude. He was doing all these wonderful things. But at some point, he stopped being creative. And does that change if you have a Bob in there who's got the work ethic, who's obviously got the skill, because you can look at this body of work he did with KISS. So he can obviously perform with them. And now Bob is maybe not the spaceman, but something else. Does it work with Bob Kulick in KISS in the beginning with makeup?
I mean, after watching and lately with all the great archival stuff getting out there of early KISS, I've watched some things I never watched before, and Ace was magic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all that respect I have for my brother, Ace is from another planet, dude. Okay. He just is. Okay. Yeah. Between his choice of notes, his approach on the guitar, even though he loves Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix, he played like nobody. He didn't really sound like anybody. Okay. And he fit with the garage band vibe of KISS. And that's not a criticism. That's a reality. And that's part of their magic, is that they did sound like something everybody could maybe imitate or play. You know, they knew they weren't Led Zeppelin. Okay. Mm-hmm. They knew they weren't the Beatles and whatever their heroes were. Hence, they decided we're going to do it over the top. It's going to be makeup, outfits, lights, you know, crazy over the top, everything. And I believe that Bob was probably maybe too much of a musician, maybe not the right guy to help out. But could KISS have been what they became without Ace? I don't believe it.
Hey, Bruce, I was just going to say, you kind of just hinted at it right there. Was Bob too good? and I know that's, but for lack of a better word, was he too technical, too skilled, too much of where Ace had that? I mean, we like to use that word, and obviously fans of the guitar and people who play, you know, that like sloppy, like that slash sound, like that really bluesy, like sloppy sound. Where Bob were incredibly skilled and technical talent. Was he maybe, like I said, too talented at that time for, like you said, what the garage sound that KISS was kind of looking for?
Well, there's a chemistry that you have to include. Yeah. Was Bob more of a, you know, musician, and Ace had, you know, I don't like to call it sloppy, although sometimes I've heard him play sloppy, but I call it, he's got a swagger on the guitar. You know what I mean?
Better
There's
word.
Nobody that had that such a slow, particular vibrato.
Yeah.
And it just so worked with the music of KISS. You just can't deny that. And now we're into hypotheticals, so we could go down this rabbit hole.
Sure.
And he wasn't in KISS, and he wouldn't even have had this opportunity of the body of work we're going to talk about.
Right.
If he was in KISS, because there would be a different story.
Right.
So I don't think we should dwell on that, but I do think we should recognize that without the chemistry of the original four, which is why some people couldn't deal with the non-makeup years. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people can't deal with seeing Eric or Tommy in that makeup. You know what I mean? Because they just love that era, define their world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you got to have respect for that. But Ace going from Ace slowly degrading in some ways, not feeling it with the band, not wanting to be there, maybe having too much drinking and drugs. I wasn't there to know for sure, but it was obvious. You know, the famous quote from my brother, you know, Ace is on the floor, you know, what? You know, saying something, and Bob responded with it was the best you ever sounded.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, but KISS was smart enough. Gene and Paul were just like, we got to move on here. I mean, we got to keep the train on the track, and we're moving forward. And I heard a lot of weird things in some of the songs, like the Killers record. Already different people were playing. Creatures, a lot of different people were playing. You know, so you get the point that Bob's role is formidable and important, and so filled with musicality that fit KISS. And that was the remarkable part. And I think that was part of his frustration. He did feel like the fifth member of KISS, but even me, with being not in the band, I think sometimes he felt like he wanted as much attention or accolade after me being in the band for 12 years and then not being in the band. You know, You know, so it's really great to look at this body of work and recognize it is for what it is, and that's enough. And that's a big badge of honor for my brother and the Kulik family, you know. Yeah. So again, these songs and his performances and that music, and to see it evolve is great. And obviously I have a lot of comments on certain songs that I think you'd find really interesting. So let's get into it.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. If we're going to go chronological, the first track is really the demo for Mr. Speed.
You're right.
Which goes on the box set. So I'm a broken record when it comes to this demo, because I talk about it constantly. It is, now everyone knows Mr. Speed is like everybody's favorite deep cut. The demo is better. Bob's lead fills are incredible. So much touch, so much feel.
Different vibe.
I love it. After every verse, he adds that extra little guitar part that is not in the original track. Love it. I absolutely love the demo.
Now, I knew that the demo was on the box set, and at the time the box set came out, I was having probably some conniptions about different things. Where's Sword and Stone? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So emotionally speaking, I don't think I listened to it. Okay. I knew that Hell or High Water and a few other things that I performed on and co-wrote were on it, but I was kind of like, time travel there, you know. Anyway, a perfect place for Sword and Stone, as you know, a crowd favorite. Anyway, so I, of course, dug into the demo. And I knew Mr. Speed, the regular one, because how many times have I heard people jam it, even at Unplugged, I think on occasion, Eric and Paul would go into it or something during the convention tours or something. But Bob kills it on that track. You're right. Okay, number one. Number two, now we could theorize, well, if Bob was the guitar player in the band, what those vintage songs would sound like, truly sound like. Yeah. And again, he's playing the best. I'm going to use some references because I know where Bob got influence from. Yeah. He's doing his best Leslie West. You know, but sometimes Bob and I would joke around and go like, yeah, you're Robert East or Bob East, not Leslie West, you know. And Leslie, for the KISS fans out there that don't know, Mountain.
Yes. Yep.
The band Mountain. And Leslie West, 300-pound guitar player with a big Les Paul Jr. When I went to the Gene Simmons the Gene Simmons weekend experience, I got it confused with my little weekend experience.
Yes.
But we rehearsed, and that rehearsal went long. And Gene, I was like freaking out, but he wanted to explain every song that we went over to the guys. Now I knew all the stories because I had those 12 years with him, and that Going Blind was something that was influenced by a Mountain song. And not only did he talk about Mountain for a minute, and Todd goes like, oh, really? You know, and then next thing you know, he's pulling out his iPhone. He's playing the song that he's influenced. And I don't mean he's playing like a minute of the song. He played all 4 minutes of, Theme for an Imaginary Western, one of my favorite Mountain songs, I wound up telling him a story about. Leslie was on the bill with Grand Funk, and I love Leslie, and he was such a cool guy, and what a big influence for me too. But Bob and I were very much influenced by Mountain. I caught them every time at the Fillmore, and so as I enjoyed that track, I said like, damn, he's ripping off Leslie there. That sounds great in that song. Wait, there's no way all those riffs wound up on the original, and they're not. You know what I mean? Right. So you're hearing like a little more of a musical approach. But again, Bob's influence was clear. Gene and Paul would have loved it because they loved Mountain. Okay.
Yes, I've heard Gene talk about Mountain many times.
Yes. So there you go. And even though Mountain's not as big as Cream or Led Zeppelin and some of the other bands that you may hear from Gene and Paul, but wow, Bob nailed it on that. And I again, if it wasn't for this podcast, I'm not sure I would have had the pleasure to hear those riffs. So thank you.
Nice.
Oh, no.
That's awesome.
Believe me, we thank Bob for that because, I mean, I always yell at Tom, we have a ranking of KISS songs. Every album we do, we rank them. I'm like, can I just rank the demos? Like, we're not doing demos.
I know.
I'm like, but I want the demo higher than everything because I just love the guitar fills. And that's all Bob.
And he was proud too, I guess, because on the box set, then he had a connection to Naked City. I know we're not going in order with that, but is that correct? Because that's there. And I have to be honest, again, probably because I had a meltdown when it came out. I heard Naked City when I was throwing at my guys, like, what do you want to do for the Bob tribute? Naked City. I don't know if it was Brent or Zach or Todd, whatever. But next thing I know, I'm going, oh, this is cool. And I'm listening to the track and I'm getting it. So I knew Bob had a co-write. And I actually see it on some of his royalty statements from BMI, the performance thing. So I'm aware of it. But again, I didn't realize what a kind of cool song that was, even though I kind of hear him on their song, but there isn't like, I think there's even a solo, but we didn't use the solo when I did it as a medley. Okay. So, but I think those were his two big box set things, and I think he got the gold, platinum record or whatever. And I know he was really proud of that, which is cool.
Well, Naked City is one of the best tracks, in my opinion, off of Unmasked.
Yeah,
I love it. And I think you guys, when you guys performed it, Tom and I were shuffling back and forth before you got on, like, oh, do you have the list from the cruise?
Yeah.
And we're looking for it. We're like, that awesome medley he did and all those Bruce, that tribute in there. And yeah, Naked City is just awesome. That
was so hard to do that. And I still love every minute of, kind of rehearsal and everything that we put into that. It was really special to do it. But again, in those kind of situations, you can't do full songs. And then that becomes the hardest part. It's like you can memorize a song as a musician, but when you need to memorize a 7 or 8 song medley, now you're not only remembering the parts of the songs in there, there's some connection and you're remembering that, so it becomes a very long song.
Yeah.
But it came out great.
Yeah. And then if we continue chronologically, there's 3 from the, side 4 of Alive 2, but 2 that always stand out fan favorites are, we did mention briefly a little bit of All American Man and Larger Than Life. Two songs that fans absolutely love. People always talk about, oh, what if they were on Love Gun or what if they were on a studio album? But, and I think they got Bob's fingerprints all over them for sure.
They really do. I mean, to me, even though, like I mentioned earlier, All American Man starts off that studio side, like so powerful.
Yep.
It's like KISS is back, what I mean? If they ever went away or something, but, it just was, amazing. The solo, the harmony parts, the theme of it. And I'm like, this is great. This sets the pace for this side. Now, I think the next song is actually Rockin' in the USA, right?
Yeah, that's the third of the songs that he performs on in that album.
Yep. All right. No, but Larger Than Life is the second song on that side.
Oh, in terms of track listing, you mean?
Yep. I thought Rockin' was maybe in between, but come on, pull it up, somebody.
We're pulling it up as we speak. Yes, Rockin' in the USA. Right. Yeah, All American Man, Rockin' in the USA. Larger
and I remember,
Life. Yep.
I didn't even know that Bob played on that because the 2 standouts for me when I was aware of Bob's contributions to Alive 2 was, of course, All American Man and Larger Than Life. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to Larger Than Life in a minute because that one I think is huge, the contribution he makes on that one. But I had to learn Rockin' in the USA because one of the guys pointed out, no, we got to do Rockin' in the USA. Bob's on it. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So now I'm listening to that track and Bob's just doing your tasty boogie woogie rock and roll, kind of riffs, not quite stepping out the same as on All American Man and Larger Than Life, but it's a different kind of song. Bob always knew as much as he was unique with his style and had his bag of tricks, as I called it. He knows he's got to play for the song. Okay. So Rockin' in the USA, he's playing the role of a more, a good time rock and roll kind of guitar player. It could be a Bob Seger thing. It could be a whatever. It could be rock and roll all night. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Now let's get to Larger Than Life. If you guys don't have any comments about that.
Go ahead.
And all right, first of all, Gene completely knocks it out of the park with this, in a sense, both Gene and Paul, I find All American Man really personifies Paul perfectly, and Larger Than Life personifies Gene and that monster voice and that slow plodding, ominous kind of groove that's so catchy yet, and all the space in it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Riff, and then nothing. And then all that's brilliant. And it's Bob just like comes in like, here I am. I'm the demon guitar player. I'm going to rip your head off. You know what I mean? With these overbends
totally.
And wild riffs. And that one was one that I was sweating bullets to pull off well on the cruise, because some of those riffs, Bob was just nailing it, especially with those big overbends. And then he's all over the neck like a madman, high, then he goes low, and then he's up high. Those are the things that are a little hard for guitar players to memorize. When you're in one area on the guitar, it becomes a little more familiar, but when you're jumping octaves and everything. So what can I say? And that title and that performance was, it was fitting in a sense when Bob passed away for me to call the tribute video. And please check that out if you haven't. It's just put in, in Google or whatever. It's on my YouTube channel, but just put in Bob Kulik, Larger Than Life, and that video will come up. But I really, really feel like no one could have done that better than Bob on that track. It was just brilliant, and Gene just nailed it. They did it one time on the cruise. Did you guys see it?
I don't think
it was with Tommy.
No, not with KISS. Yeah. No, we didn't. We never saw them. No,
they only played it once, and they had a little bit of a train wreck. It's a freaking tricky song, You know, like music is math, and lots of times musicians are very used to sections of 4/4 and 4 bars and 8 bars and 16 bars. But suddenly when you do the extra bar or two, and it's not like you're out of time, it's just you're going to do that turnaround one more time and look out. You know what I mean? and there's no backing track, there's no click, there's no nothing. These guys are just going for it. And I wasn't surprised they didn't try it again. And believe me, those are the things that I always have to really concentrate on. Brent's been fooled, but we when we're up there, we know how to pull it together and follow each other and stuff. But the one time they did it, you know, it's kind of funny that it was hard for them. But it was great to hear them, you know, represent that song. That was wonderful.
It's funny hearing that from you know, such a pro as yourself, because to us, we're like, oh, this is like a kick-ass, like simple, slow riff drum. Like we're thinking like, oh, this is, I can pick up a guitar and play this. And then you're talking about how technical and tricky it is. And
the arrangement's unusual, and there are different sections and how many times Gene lets the verse go. I was fooled a lot when I was practicing, so I was not surprised when I saw them get off track, you know what I mean, with it.
Interesting.
But again, not something everybody caught, but if you've performed the song and you studied the song, then you'd know that. So let's all applaud. The rest of Alive 2 studio tracks are terrific too. Rocket Ride is like killer. Ace brings it.
Ace. Yeah,
right?
No doubt.
And I got to make a mention that everyone loves Rick Springfield, especially the women, right, Lisa? Yep. Okay. and I knew him from L.A. and I knew a lot of his crew. And he had a roadie, this guy Ruben, who sadly got cancer. He was hanging on, and then he finally succumbed to it, unfortunately. And Rick wanted to do a benefit for him, so they reached out to me. Who's Ruben's favorite band? Okay, KISS. Okay. Yep. So then I get requested because they knew me. Please play. Come to the charity for Ruben. Of course. When am I? You know, House of Blues. What do you want me to do? Well, his favorite song is Rocket Ride.
Oh boy! Nice.
Talk about a deep track, right?
Right.
I studied it, and I'm like, wow, thumbs up for Ace. This thing is awesome. And we played it. I played it better, I think, than Jesse's Girl, to be honest with you. But I did it, and it was an honor to learn that Rocket Ride song and to learn Ace's stuff. So give credit where credit's due. What a terrific, side. I think Paul then goes into one of the cover songs, the Dave Clark 5 thing, right?
Any way you want it.
Yeah.
Which was actually kind of like a hint to where he may head on his solo record in a way, because he liked that kind of power pop stuff. So I wasn't so surprised.
What
a great track. What a great, I mean, that whole fourth side is on Spotify. When I study it, it says all those songs. It says live at the Capitol Theater.
Yes, I noticed that too, Bruce. Yes. I always wondered where they're getting that information from.
No, it's the metadata is wrong. Whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Somebody tell them. You know. Yeah. I think it has to be somebody from the copyright owner, meaning KISS or the the label would have to do it, not us. You know.
Right.
Well, then you go into Paul's solo album, which Tom and I are of the mindset that this is the best solo album of the 4.
Well, it's not only the best solo album of the 4. I put it up there as one of the overall best KISS albums, period.
Yeah.
You know,
Paul hits it out of the park. There's maybe one dud in there that we think, but a lot of this has to do with Bob's playing.
No doubt.
And he just brings it. You start off with the incredible Tonight You Belong to Me. What an opening track. And how KISS never performed it or any of the songs off this album, I just never understood.
They played a little bit of Move On during the Dynasty tour because each member was kind of throwing in a song from their solo albums for a bit during Dynasty. And I think Paul pretty much focused on Move On, but Tonight You Belong to Me is just what an unbelievable track.
Well, I'm with you guys about Paul's being my favorite of the 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Ace had the legitimate huge hit, and you got to give Ace,
of course,
kudos for that. Okay, even though it was a cover song, but his ego wasn't like, well, no, I'm not going to do a cover song. You know what I mean? He owned it, and nobody out there would care. They would feel like that is Ace. You know what I mean? New York groove. Okay, and being from New York and all that. In fact, I'm wearing my New York T-shirt anyway. But no doubt that that solo record, what Paul was able to put together, the chemistry with Bob. I know they were both in a great state emotionally. I was aware of a lot of the little comings and goings of the other players, who could help out, who'd be involved. I know Bob recommended Steve Buslow from the Meatloaf group, the Bat Out of Hell band, and he came in and he's a great player. I think maybe there were some others. Carmine Appice makes an appearance, which was a real honor for Paul. And I know we all loved Vanilla Fudge, and Carmine's a legend on the drums. So let's talk about this record, because looking at it last night, I'm almost ready to do a gig where I'm just doing the Paul Stanley solo record.
Oh, do it. Do it, Bruce.
We would love to see
right?
it.
And I can tell you, I could hear Todd pulling that off, like in stage.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, but tonight, You Belong to Me, of course, appeared in my tribute to Bob on the cruise, and it was wonderful to do it. There's wonderful, crazy feedback in the song that I love, which is really hard to capture in the studio. You know, just getting the guitar to sing and feedback right. His intro notes are so melodic, and then his high notes are crazy. He gets to riff out at the end. It was Bob was all over his bag of tricks and using them to the fullest extent to a fabulous Paul Stanley song. Let's face it.
Oh,
that is power pop at its best. And what can I say? Now, Move On, I wasn't as familiar with because I didn't study it for the medley, right?
Right.
And it's funny that you said that he chose that. And my God, Bob gets to play all over that song. You know what I mean? And it's a better tune than I expected. A little surprising to me from Paul in some ways with it, a little different. But I did love it. And Bob is featured like, how could anyone not hear Paul's solo record and go like, who's this guy playing guitar? Okay.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's funny you say that, Bruce, because I heard interviews of Bob talking.
Yep.
And the one song that I've heard him brag about, like so proud of, was Move On.
Interesting.
Yep. And he would say, like, this was like guitar work that not a lot of people can do it. What I did on that. And he was really showcasing that song specifically. And
Paul let him play.
Anyone. Why?
Yeah, Paul just let him play. And I would say to Lisa, oh my God, another solo. Listen to this. He's letting them wail, and he's loud. He's up there in the mix. So I was very impressed with that. But I will admit that why it didn't get more attention or why I didn't go for it in that medley, I don't know, but it's a great song. Absolutely. And here's a little bit of a backstory about all of them are doing solo records, right? Gene, of course, knew my brother. Why would he be on, write a song like Naked City, et cetera? And Gene wanted Bob to also play some on his record, and he couldn't. Okay. There was that kind of possessiveness of
competition.
Paul. Oh, yeah. Competition. And I remember Bob sharing that with me. I didn't think it was weird because I totally understood that, wait a minute, if this guy's that unique, I want my record to have that uniqueness. And why should he be running around? Bob's not just, even though he got a lot of session work, he wasn't your typical session player. Okay. He just wasn't. He had a unique style. If you listen to Coney Island Baby by Lou Reed, Bob stands out very different than anything you'd expect from a Lou Reed record. But Lou really admired his talent, and there he is on that record. A little cleaner tone. He's not doing whammy bar wildness, but it's still Bob. So I think Paul had the right call that no, you're not taking him. You're not letting him. And what is Bob going to do? Of course, he's got to accept that. Right. He knows that he could. Gene loved him, and Gene would turn him on to other gigs and things like that. So I just thought that was interesting, and especially after hearing him Move On. Why would Paul want him to play on Gene's songs? You know what I mean?
Right.
That would not be cool.
Right.
So great tune. All right. So let's move down to Ain't Quite Right. Now, this song I was really impressed with. And as soon as I heard it, and again, it wasn't one I was as familiar with because I mostly more recently digested the ones that we chose for the medley on the cruise. And I love that I have all these photos of Bob in the studio, not a lot in the studio, but them posing with guitars, and there's tons of incredible instruments and a lot of acoustics and 12 string, So I finally realized, that's what they're using, these picking guitar things and stuff like that. So it starts out mellow, and Bob has those beautiful crying, tasty notes happening. And then he does a couple of kind of jazzy notes, which reminded me of Coney Island Baby, actually. Again, from his bag of tricks. I know that because I know the riffs. I could show you 5 songs that he's used it in or 5 different artists that he'll go there for that. But all guitar players are, I'm not saying they're guilty of it, but it's just what you do. Okay. And then, for me, that was a killer 70s kind of vibe of a tune from Paul. I loved it, that it had its, kind of like, mellow part and then got a little more aggressive and everything. It was a great song.
Yeah, it was a really unique. It was a unique track for Paul and Bob. And again, we keep praising Bob, but it's such a unique. It starts off kind of bluesy and mellow and kind of peaceful, and then it grows, like you said.
Right.
And what Bob is doing, just creating that buildup and that emotion. It's a really unique song.
It's funny.
Now,
you say
I
that
know
because I was going to say just
no,
add
go
one
ahead.
last thing that. Again, preparing for all this, I'd listened to a lot of earlier Bob interviews and some later ones. And when he was, some of the later ones, Bob gets a little bit boisterous and a little proud of his work. And one of the things he was saying is like, look at that work. Ace is a great guitar player. Ace ain't quite right. He can't do that. And he was mentioning things about that and it's true. And so one of the things I would say is, maybe Bob can do some Ace stuff, but can Ace do some Bob stuff?
Yeah.
And this is one of the songs that comes to mind. That's all.
Yeah. Look, I could, and Tommy won't mind me saying it. Tommy's not going to really do my stuff because it's not really in his,
we know.
Use the looser wheelhouse. Okay?
We know.
But he accepts
we've
that.
heard it.
Right. And then Paul and Gene doesn't demand him to, but I will say Paul was wise enough for the solo tour that he told my brother, get together with Bruce, have him show you Crazy Nights and Hide Your Heart. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Show the songs that I'm going to do so you get a sense of how you would interpret them. He didn't tell him to play it note for note, but he wanted him to get a sense of that.
Yeah.
And they never did that with Tommy, but that is what it is. That's not the point. But everyone has their specialty. And I know Bob wanted to brag about it, probably deservedly so, but I think he was using it in an argument. That was just part of his agenda towards the end of his life, which was unfortunate because you could still be boisterous about what you've contributed, but you don't have to say that in comparison to anybody else. There isn't a comparison because then I'd play you something from 75 of Ace that I know that I couldn't touch, that vibe that he had that fit the song for KISS, 100,000 years. He pulled the shit off live. I was just like, oh my God, look at how flawlessly he's playing that. And these riffs are so creative. And that was the genius of Ace. And that's why he had to be in the band. But again, at Paul's record, and I should bring up this point too, I worked with Paul for those 12 years. So I know what it is to be in the studio with him. And Paul loves guitar. He is a fine guitar player, better rhythm player, not so much a lead player, though he'll play some leads when he feels he can do it. But because he can play some leads, because he's such a melodic individual and musical, he knew he could write stuff. I feel he got the best of Bob on the solo record because he probably on certain things worked with him. Other things just let him fly, like move on, just go for it, have fun. Yeah. But there are other things I sense, and it's not like I'm saying he was spoon-fed the riffs, but I do feel that he was kind of, I guess the best word would be like, he was co-directed or somehow influenced in the same way that, I don't know if Forever would have, if I had my druthers, it seemed like it was going to be an electric solo. And then Paul telling me, I really hear an acoustic solo, kind of like this Led Zeppelin song. Boom, light bulb moment for me. I got what he meant. You know what I mean? And off we go. So, and Tears Are Falling is a solo that we both worked on together. The harmony part, the intro, how we set it up. And then he let me do some of my bag of tricks. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Where I go up into my thing.
Yep.
So I think, again, Paul's love of guitar playing, that camaraderie they had back then. They were friends, really good friends then. So this helped make that album the best of the 4 solo records. It just does. It helps bring out the best of Bob, best of Paul. He was surrounded by great people. And that's why I loved listening to the entire record yesterday. It was so much fun to hear it.
Nice.
And to hear Lisa sing every song and know every I was like, oh, really? We're gonna have to talk about this, honey. I knew she was a big fan, but I didn't know she knew every note of Paul's solo record.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But that's what happens when you go back to these albums.
Yep.
And when we went back to review Paul Stanley's solo album, we're just like, does anybody else see the genius in this album?
Yes.
This is just and it stayed with us. And so we've been boasting about Paul's solo album throughout because the cliche in KISS land, oh, Ace is the best. Oh, Ace is the best. Okay, he's got the 3 hits, the 3 songs that stick out. You were telling me those deeper cuts are as good as Love and Change or Goodbye or anything like that?
No, I agree.
That's what
there's highlights. All the records have their highlights. I love playing Radioactive with Gene.
Love that.
And I think it's really touching how he was trying to show that emotional side when you wish upon a star.
Yes.
That's crazy that he did those things. But again, knowing Paul was also in a voice that I call the macho voice. Okay. He had that on this record. He could be gentle. He could be that, where he's doing that thing, but it's not, and he's not trying to do the high stuff that he was doing a lot during my era. Yeah. So that's another thing that I really love, that I feel that Paul's voice is, all right, look, he slays it on Revenge and other things of my era. You know that his voice was just like unplugged. I mean, he was untouchable. But the point I'm making is for that 70s style of KISS, the makeup era KISS, Paul is really dialed in a vocal style on this record that is just killer. You know what I mean? It just really works, All right, let's keep moving.
So the next track is just as good.
One. Yeah. Another one, the 12-string guitars, the melodic. I hear a little phaser on my brother's guitar, a little pedal, which I think I have here in the house that my repair guy, when he cleaned it up, said, like, this is a good one. You know what I mean? And one of those vintage MXR pedals. And, again, Bob's solo in this is really melodic. And I made a note when I heard it that this would be something that, again, only Paul can confirm this now. Did he help write it with Bob? With Bob? You know what I mean? Did he construct it with Bob? Maybe. Okay. But the biggest takeaway on this song is this song was built for Carmine Appice to be the madman on the drums. Okay.
Yep.
And in a way, it's almost like a thing regarding like almost this is like the future where all of a sudden on Creatures of the Night, what's the biggest thing? Eric Carr's drums, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? That there's something about a powerful Bonham style drumming that can drive a track. And then the whole ending, because I remember Lisa saying, oh, it goes on forever. I go like, yeah, I think this is where Carmine goes wild.
Oh, Carmine lets loose.
Yeah. And it's amazing. And I remember Bob telling me, you got to listen to this Carmine playing. And I give you guys a tip because you guys, everyone listening to this podcast, got to go pull out Paul's record. On this song, all of a sudden, towards the end, there's a on the guitar, this octave thing. That's that's Vanilla Fudge. They stuck that in.
Wow.
To do an homage to Carmine. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So think about that. So I know it was really exciting for Carmine to be on the song. Paul put him up in the mix. And what a great song. And now I regret that we didn't do that one. And I know Brent would have had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
So in the future. Okay.
Yeah. We had Carmine on. He's on our network, Pantheon Network. So we had Carmine on. We talked specifically about that. He never mentioned the Vanilla Fudge part.
That's funny.
But
it's there. Listen to it. You can't miss it. Yeah.
He did talk about how much fun he had on that song.
I mean, that's actually the Supremes cover that they had a big hit with, but there it is. Keep Me Hanging On.
Yes.
But Carmine's a legend. He's still active out there. He's still playing great. I love that he doesn't take any shit from anybody.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's been in the news a little bit. Yep.
He told it like it was for Vinny. Good for you, Carmine. Yep. Okay. Nikki and him, I don't really know the beef, but he wasn't afraid of Nikki Sixx. You know what I mean?
He wasn't.
So go for it, Carmine. You're a legend. And everything he says about what he did and who he knows and how influential he is 1,000% true, 1,000,000% true. So my hat's off to him. Now, I played a lot more with Vinny than Carmine, and I love Vinny. He's just a solid player. But man, Carmine wrote the book and that stuff. And that's why he's still out there. So God bless him.
Yeah, Carmine was talking about how, his influence on that and his relationship with Paul. And it's funny because that same song was so good that you were talking about that Rod Stewart did it with Carmine in his band. Put it on his album.
Yep. Oh, wow.
And Carmine was talking about his friendship with Paul is like, I don't know, maybe I think he liked me because I was friends with Rod Stewart. And Paul is such a huge Rod Stewart fan.
Which brings us to the next song, guys.
Oh, actually, we missed one.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we jumped over. Wouldn't you like to know me?
Okay. Yeah, we shouldn't do that because we want to. But I just can we go back to it only because I had a real important point.
Absolutely.
It's all right, which again I wasn't that familiar with. There's not even a guitar solo on it, though. You could tell Bob is chugging along on the rhythms, probably with Paul. That's such a Rod Stewart song. It's ridiculous. That sounds straight from the Faces or Rod Stewart, and it's a great track.
Good call.
But think of those bands, Rod and the Faces, or just Rod Stewart, and I know that was a big influence for Paul. There's no doubt. Rod Stewart was just such a great voice, and that's why Jeff Beck worked with him, and he's still out there selling out. He's amazing. You know?
Yeah, but let's stick to It's All Right. We'll skip back to Wouldn't You Like Me After. It's All Right is the hidden gem in a KISS catalog.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not given more love or even like talked about as one of the great deep tracks of KISS. It is such a rocking song.
The chorus itself.
The guitar, I know there's no solo in it, but the guitar riff on it is awesome. And
it is. It
vocals, it's just one of those balls out kind of like he's just like you said. So I'm thinking of like, Stay With Me and Faces and just that balls out 70s approach to music. Yeah. So awesome. Such a great tune.
And really ironic for me to keep, all right, is there going to be a solo here? You know what I mean? And then realize, well, wait a minute, there really isn't, you know what I mean? But it's here on the list and it deserves some attention. And there you go. Everyone's going to be looking for that track now and think of that influence that, the early British bands had on Paul and Gene, but particularly here on Paul for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back to Wouldn't You Like to Know Me?
We always laugh at that title. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I know.
It's such a great attempt at a pickup line. Wouldn't you like to know me?
Yeah. Well, isn't It's All Right all about hooking up with a girl,
kicking her out of bed and stuff like that. I don't give a shit. Those are Rod Stewart lyrics.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yep. No, look, you're going to borrow from the best, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right. All right. Wouldn't you like me to know me? Oh, I was so excited to do this with the band because I was always a big fan of that kind of droney, cheap trick kind of guitar, power pop stuff. And Paul loves that stuff, and he nailed it on this one. It's so catchy. Bob's solo is very memorable in this one. It was a real pleasure to learn it and perform it. I think I nailed it pretty close when I did, on a cruise, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Between the wind and just somebody catching your eye or something. But wow, what a great song. And it has a certain sonic thing. I noticed there's like slightly different mixes on Paul's record that do fit the song. So I really like the way this one sounds, and that same production wouldn't work on another song, for example. So it's really a great track. And I know why I wanted to put it in the medley because it was so strong.
For sure. No doubt.
All right. Carrying on.
Love in Chains.
Yeah. Now that starts with Bob's leads that are very thematic. And I always love that. Now, any song that you're coming out of the gate with the lead guitar, hello, you know what I mean? That's exciting. And I'm sure Bob loved that.
Yeah.
Here's a funny, you might not have caught it, but when I said it, Lisa went like, oh yeah. His B sections are My Sweet Lord chords, from George Harrison.
Okay.
Which became a big lawsuit, by the way. Not that Paul was stepping on that.
Right.
Just saying. But there's a big solo in it from Bob, which is great. You know what I mean? And I wasn't that familiar with that song. So it was really cool to hear that one. And again, with Bob playing the theme, kind of thematic leads, and then having a big solo, another great song from Paul's record. What can I say?
The great thing about this album and Bob's contribution, he contributed 8 songs. The one song that he did not contribute to, Bob ought to be patted on the back because I think it's one of the worst songs in the KISS catalog. And that is the Hold Me, Touch Me, and Think of
Me when I'm gone.
Yeah. So if you look at it, like from our perspective, we're like, Bob is a genius. He picked only the 8 songs that he wanted to perform on or something. I don't know why he's not on that song. Not that it needs him, but because the song is brutal. Well,
it's a ballad. Lisa and I had the discussion yesterday.
Yeah.
To me, as soon as you put the piano as the driving thing, lead guitar doesn't always work.
Right.
And Paul was obviously going for that big kind of emotional ballad kind of thing. I just bought the single. I found it from an English shop online. Yeah. I love the cover. It didn't really come with the mask. That's the only thing missing. Yeah. But I love the purple picture, the purple color on the thing. Yeah. And I knew that the flip side was Goodbye, and that's why I bought it. Okay. Because we're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah, please.
But that ballad, a guitar wasn't appropriate. That wasn't necessarily Bob saying, I'm not playing on this. I think it was a production choice by Paul. Yeah. And it is syrupy. And Lisa made that comment too. This one's just doesn't fit the rest of the song, but there's a part of Paul where he feels like, I think he always wanted to write a song that maybe is for somebody else, really. That's a more big ballad singer or female even. And that song on the Detroit Rock City soundtrack, which I'm the only other KISS member on. I played bass on it, right? Again, not very typical, although that's a great Diane Warren song. But why would Paul choose that? You see what I mean? Yeah. But he did. And I know he likes, there's a part of him that likes that kind of stuff. And that's what this reminded me of, that direction of a movie soundtrack song that's maybe a little schmaltzy or something. Why it was a single, I don't know. Because
it was the only single released from this album, which seems ridiculous. It was the only official single released from this album. I believe.
Think our thoughts a little bit more nefarious, that we're like, it's that competition in Paul. That's his first ballad. If you look at the catalog, think about it. Right, he hasn't done a ballad. The only one's done a ballad is Peter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Peter's got this. At that point, it's probably coming insufferable from all the success from Beth. And Paul's probably like, oh, yeah? Well, let me write a ballad. Maybe I'll do better than you or something. But it's just, that's his first crack at it. And I think maybe Until I Still Love You, Tom?
Yeah.
Probably the next time he tries a ballad. At least that one works.
Yeah, that one really
does not sound authentic, in my opinion.
Right. It just doesn't. And then we know Forever did, and we know that. Every time
I look at you.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, either way, Bob's not on it, so we'll move on.
Yeah,
and we'll get to what I think is a killer ending song. Of course, not only because of the title, it just the track just makes you want to hear more. Play, keep going. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
You don't want it to end. And how brave or how brilliant that it's in the key of D or D flat if they tune down. I'm not positive, but the bass is D tuned. So that riff, is so ahead of its time. Now that track I'll never forget. I know when I heard it, when Bob first played me the record, I was just like, oh my God. And that playing, Lisa could attest to this, that I probably practiced that one the most. And we did I think we did the whole song. Actually, because it was so important to me, not only with the title, but every riff that Bob placed in there is magic. And then even a harmony thing at the end of the verse parts. And there isn't a solo per se. There's tasty riffs everywhere. Yep. And then that climbing da-da-da in harmony. I'm like, I probably spent an hour on that. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this song? It's so amazing. And what a thrill to play that song live. I know the guys love it, and to pull that off. And I doubt that, now Paul did it during the solo tour, maybe. I would hope.
I believe he did. Okay, now you do recognize where the origins of that song is from, right?
No, teach me, tell me.
Keep Me Coming. Not Keep Me Coming. What am I saying? Keep Me Waiting.
Which
from
is
the
what?
box set.
Oh, from the box set, Wicked Lester demo.
I have to go back and listen to that.
Listen to it, and you'll be like, and you hear that. You'll hear it in the chorus. You'll hear that guitar.
You'll hear that bass, that driving bass.
Keep Me Coming. No, it's not.
Yeah, I love droning guitar parts, and I love a bass that's doing a. Like I wrote Jungle, with Paul and Kurt, and a bass thing that can drive a song is great. I came up with the bass parts for I know I should drop something on the floor. I'm dropping all my credits here.
Go for it.
Circus bum, 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 bum,
Yep.
bum, 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 bum. I did the demo with Paul and Kurt Cuomo.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of this. Now, I played it like Gene, and that's why Gene pulls it off live perfectly. But a driving bass part, it just gets me wild. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah.
And a little known Kulik secret is that when my wife sees me play bass, she's very excited.
Oh, Jesus.
How very Gene of you there, Bruce.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't help it. Right, Lisa? All right, she's upstairs. Thank
awesome.
God. But there's something, and unfortunately, the older I get, the harder it is to play bass. So if anyone's looking for a rare vintage bass, contact me, okay? Because
you hear that?
I can't play all my basses anymore. Anyway, what a great song!
Yes. Oh
yeah,
Paul nails it. I could see myself rehearsing it in these hotel rooms on the road with Graham Funk because, and I'll give you guys another scoop. I have ideas of trying to release the last rehearsal with my brother to actually be able to offer it. Yeah. Now it's too soon to say if I can, only because there's a lot of things I got to look into, but I have an amazing recording of us. Now, why is it recorded? Like professionally, because we all had to study the rehearsal because we only got together for 1.5 days. Okay.
Gotcha.
Wow. Okay.
Prior to the cruise in 2017, because everyone's schedule was terrible. Me with Graham Funk.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sure Todd and Brent were doing Slash, and everyone had to practice to something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean just the tracks off of the records. You need our arrangements, our band, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a really good, and I would love to try to figure out a way to offer that. And that would be like the rehearsal of the 13 songs we did on the cruise. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And I know Goodbye was, we probably came back and did Turn on the Night into, Crazy Nights, Turn on the Night. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember Bob going, there's 7 songs of yours and 6 of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brothers for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you guys might know what I was dealing with. Yeah, Bob, I was in the band for 12 years. I know what you did, but come on. You don't want to end the show with Turn on the Night? Come on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right.
But I will tell
he
you,
was
it was a highlight for the KISS cruise for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
when
my
you
God.
guys
Yes.
pulled out Goodbye.
Oh,
Because
sure.
you would never imagine ever hearing Goodbye at a KISS event.
I know.
And when you guys, and again, we've praised you. I mean, you're Bruce. So we all love you.
Thank you.
Todd.
Oh, yeah.
The guys just crushed it.
Well, Zach
especially
wasn't on
Todd.
that one, but Zach was there to do the way we played it. But on the original cruise, just
Yes,
Todd
on the cruise, when we
yeah.
saw you live perform
Yep.
these songs.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, Todd, and we've said it on the show many times, he's not copying Paul,
No,
but he kind of
he's emulating him. He's channeling the spirit.
Yes.
The spirit comes out that you feel this is KISS just as much. And Zach does the same thing. And it's done with class and taste. It's not a cheap ripoff. It's not a cover band. It's just this interpretation of what those songs are. And Todd nails it vocally with attitude. It's just awesome. And Zach always laughing in between songs and smiling on stage.
Always has a great time.
It's very infectious to see how much fun you guys have on stage.
Yeah.
And
I'm way
see the
too
interactions.
serious. For me, I'm way too serious only because I got so much that I got to remember how to play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Look, first of all 3 of them, and Brent is just, what an incredible drummer and what a KISS fan. And of course,
he's awesome.
He'll be Gene's go-to guy. You know that,
Yeah. And we had a lot of fun with Brent over at the Gene event. He's awesome.
And I know Gene loves him, and why wouldn't he? Of course.
Yeah.
But these guys are just incredible, and their love of KISS is incredible. And it was something that came up today working with Todd. I said, Todd, I was listening. I'm doing Tom and Zeus today, and I'm so excited. I listened to the Paul Stanley record. We should do that sometime. And I go like, you could sing every one of those songs, but it would be you. I could almost hear you singing it all. And he was so flattered. He loves that. You know that. Yeah. Look, Paul's a big fan of Todd too, man. Obviously, and has said it to him. And what can I say other than, what a pleasure it's been to work with them. But more importantly is to share those songs, the body of music that KISS, is not going to do for whatever reason. We can go on for an hour about that. Don't need to. The point is, I love to do it. And that's why I'll pull out The Oath and surprise everybody. but there's no better band that I can have than those guys. Okay?
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So if we're going chronologically, we've already done Naked City.
Yep.
Right.
It was on Unmasked, with Bob got the writing credit and stuff. Now we get to Killers.
Yes.
And the 4 tracks on Killers.
Well, it's another record I was scratching my head a little bit about until the Bob tribute came along for that cruise. And I'm a Legend Tonight. Okay. I loved right away, but I was barely familiar with any of these. I don't know why. I don't remember, I had the record, which is kind of rare too, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just was very impressed. Now, you guys teach me something. Are all the songs produced by Michael James Jackson?
Yes.
Or just some? They are. Okay.
Yes.
Those 4 tracks.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And was this after Creatures or before?
Right before.
Right before. Okay.
But after Music from the Elder.
Okay. So obviously Michael's trying to feel his oats with the band, right? And the band's going through some big issues, and the record was created because that's a question.
So they made so because of the kind of quote unquote failure of the Elder, the record company, the label, they wanted KISS to kind of put a compilation together, kind of get back on track with some hard stuff, and it was going to be released only overseas. So they introduced these new tracks, and it was kind of the precursor to Creatures of the Night. So
yeah, okay, now that makes sense to me.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad they went to Bob, and obviously that was smart. I mean, right away, I'm a Legend Tonight. What a great title! What a great. He has that solo. That's a fantastic thematic solo, and he's a little more controlled here. He's not off the leash, and I'm not sure if that was Michael or just again playing for the song. But I love doing it, and I on the cruise, and it's just a terrific song. Probably one of my favorites of those new songs on
really.
Killer.
Oh yeah. No, it's a great song.
Can you tell?
I think KISS fans just love the original tracks of the Killers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you tell? Like now, when I'm getting this album, I'm back into KISS. I fell off for a little bit. I was 5 years old, and I was too old for KISS.
You probably fell off for a lot of things.
Yeah. So, but I came back into KISS by junior high, and I went backwards and started discovering stuff. And I remember discovering Killers. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never seen this. I don't remember this. Right. And listening to those songs, I absolutely loved it. But, I'm a teenager. I can't tell. Ace is on the cover.
Sure.
I don't know.
I know.
So could you, as, Bruce, hear the music and maybe even back then, like, oh, that's not Ace. That's definitely.
I would know. Now, I didn't study them the way we're doing it now. Because now everything from the body of KISS catalog is so exciting to me. There was a long period when I was left behind for the reunion tour. Like, I'm not listening to anything. I don't want to see anything. Yeah. Oh, all right. I did Tears of Fun, whatever. I swear. Where now I'm like, woo! I love that stuff. This is great. Someone showed me a new video. Oh, Foundations Forum video of that. Wow! So I'm in a completely different headspace, and rightfully so. But I think everyone can understand why. It was almost like I was part of this forgotten era, and then all of a sudden it got remembered again. You know what I mean? So I'm celebrating with everyone. So I'm going deep now. In the case of me now driving forward my era and all eras with my performances with a great band, I'm willing to look at everything from KISS and break the rules with that. And here you go, looking at Killers and play. Did they ever play Killers? Anything from Killers? Probably not.
Nope.
Right.
I think they've played Nowhere to Run in KISS cruises and stuff.
Yeah, KISS cruises. That's
stuff
about
like that. Yeah.
These original tracks have never been like part of our set list.
Right. And we'll get to that one, but let's go to, but I could tell who's playing what pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to play Creatures and tell me, all right, multiple choice, which one's Robin Ford? Which one's the guy from Mr. Mister? Which one's Vinnie Vincent? I probably could guess pretty well, but I probably need to know the multiple choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
I couldn't just figure it out just naturally.
Yeah.
All right. But Down on Your Knees, that was probably the first time I was really listening to it properly, was yesterday. Okay. And again, Bob's back in his bag of tricks, And for me, what was surprising about the song was there was a little Van Halen in it and a little AC/DC and Paul out of it. That's what I thought. And again, I think, Bob got to play quite a bit, probably because, again, what year is Killers now?
81, I think, 82.
Yeah,
81. Yep.
So Van Halen already broke big, right? So everyone's a little influenced by everybody. So it was an interesting track. Not one of my favorites of Killers, but since I never heard it, it was fun to hear. And I thought Paul was trying to channel his inner AC/DC meets Van Halen vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Correction. Killers came out in the middle of 82, June 82.
Yeah.
June
okay.
82.
Even later. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would make more sense because of one of the other songs, which is the next. Can we talk about Partners in Crime?
Sure. We'll go back to Nowhere to Run afterwards.
Yeah, we'll
absolutely.
go back to that.
Sure.
First of all, as soon as I hear it and I hear from the guitar, the dropping low note, I'm going like, what the hell is that? Oh my God, what year is this again? Because I know it, you can only do it with what was called a whammy bar guitar or Floyd Rose, or back then they had another company that made something that would do it, but I know Bob had the Floyd. But the earliest Floyds were horrible. You know what I mean? They were, some people swear by the first ones, and Eddie Van Halen obviously started with the very first one. There was no fine tuners on it, but still it worked. It locked your strings, and then you can go anywhere you want it, down, up, like a maniac, make it cry like a banshee, and drop it to Hades, and it comes back in tune. What could I say? How brilliant. Right. I wish Jimmy had it, because I couldn't even imagine what Hendrix would have done with it. He was always going out of tune on a Stratocaster. So Bob obviously is going, hey, look at me. I got a Floyd Rose. Look. You know what I mean? So I nicknamed that song the Whammy Wildness song for my brother. And I'm sure it was probably his first Floyd Rose guitar. He didn't have it for quite a while, but it was probably that star-shaped one. I'm pretty sure it was on Paul's tour as well, maybe. But either way, I think that was the first one that he had a bolt-on neck and the Floyd Rose, and he's going wild with it. So again, it's not a bad song, but I think it was like everybody in the studio was probably like, yeah, use that thing. It's so different. It's so fresh. It's so wild. Right. So I saw it as like a showboat for the Floyd Rose. Do you like that song? I mean, I wasn't familiar with it before that.
It's okay. I mean, it's a novelty, because the only place you're ever going to hear it is on Killers. So it's, it kind of holds a special place for KISS fans, because it's not on a compilation. It's not a set list, True. So
these are all like Adam Mitchell songs too. And we love Adam. And we talk to him every night. I just emailed him earlier today. And we were talking about some of his songs and stuff. And this is his first kind of experience with Paul and you guys, and kind of get into the KISS family. And so I think these songs and the songwriting and, Bob involvement in it.
Interesting. I'm glad you told me that, because Adam and I got very close.
The Eric stuff.
Pleasure to get close to him, especially over Eric's music. And we still keep in touch, of course. And Eric, I mean, without Adam and the three of us, it wouldn't have been the same. And Rockology, boy, that thing sold like gangbusters when the record store day. And thank you to all the fans that supported that. It's wonderful. But Adam Mitchell is such a key, another one of the key players that contribute to the success of KISS, along with the people like Michael James Jackson, which was a real tragedy losing him, of course.
Yes.
And people like Bob Ezrin and so forth, as you know. Like a Vinnie Ponce is real important too, but I worked so minimally with him. I don't have a lot of a connection, but Adam, Ezrin, and Michael, even though Michael never produced me, we were friends and hung out a lot especially on the cruise. And we used to hook up sometimes in LA when I lived there. And I was devastated when he passed away. And, Adam and I spoke quite a bit about that. But let's go to the best, the song that really stands out, which is Nowhere to Run.
Bruce, this is by far one of the greatest deep cuts songs that KISS fans just adore.
And to me, that easily could have been on Paul's solo record, and it would have been a standout there too.
No doubt.
But that's great. Bob riffs, overbends, thematic playing, plays out in the end. And I know when we went into it on the cruise, everybody lost their mind. I know it.
Yes, they did.
And it's just anytime Paul's singing something that he holds it out, nowhere to run. You know what I mean? It's just here you are. You're in KISS Nirvana. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And what can I say? Clearly a standout on Killers for the original stuff. Clearly,
without a doubt. I
have that of all the albums. I think we only have like 4 more albums to review. Yeah. That is currently song number 2 for me.
Wow.
I think that's just off the charts, and it's such a deep cut. hearing anytime you guys or KISS or anybody, any version of it I can find, I love it. It's such a incredible song. I mean, we've already gone through all the incredible songs of Bob, except for one left that I know of.
Yep.
And that is probably one of my favorite tracks off Creatures of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the next one, and that's Danger. He mentioned that he had some, and we don't, from what I understand, I don't even know if his version or his help or, you know, his contribution to the song made it onto the album, because I don't see it in any credits or anything like that.
He's not credited at all.
He did talk about that. I think he played on it, and maybe they put somebody else on it afterwards or something. But his contribution to Danger, if you want to talk about that song.
Yeah, I do want to talk about it because it's fascinating to me, because it's, boy, isn't it fun when you find out something you weren't aware of and it's important, or it's kind of, you know, it's another layer of that onion that you keep peeling in someone's career, or it's pieces of the puzzle that are just like, oh, that feels good to know that. So it was brought to my attention, and it was this year, actually, that Michael James Jackson in the liner notes talks about Bob's involvement with Creatures of the Night. Now, my closeness with my brother obviously gave me that access to him coming home, bragging, complaining, or, you know, it ran the gamut, of course. Why wouldn't it, right? And in this case, Creatures was not a good experience for him. He went in there thinking that he would play on the, you know, at least a lot of the record, if not the whole record.
Yeah.
And he came home with his tail tucked between his legs.
Oh,
now,
that sucks.
Why? I know at some point I would have asked either Michael or Paul, more likely Paul. And I think he felt he knew better, or they were being extremely picky about everything. And Bob was maybe in a state where, I did a live too. I did your solo record. I know, you know what I mean? I know my brother pretty well, and I could tell that there could have been, I've worked with enough other musicians too, that they're so walking into a wall. There's no wall here. There's no wall. They just keep going. They walk right into the wall, but there's no wall there to them. Okay.
Yeah.
So Bob probably couldn't play good session guy. Okay. And came home. I don't, you know, I guess they didn't, whatever. So my whole, whatever that year that was recorded to the present, as far as I'm concerned, he was not on that record at all. And it wasn't something to brag about. Right.
Yeah.
Then my friend Michael shares with me, this guy, Michael Edwards, who does a lot of my, graphic arts and things, and a big archivist in the KISS world. He shares with me, look what Michael said. He took a photo of it and sends me what's in the book, the deluxe book of Creatures. I love Creatures, but I'm not necessarily spending $200 on the deluxe or $300, whatever it is, you know? So, I read it and I go like, holy shit, I got to go to this song. Okay. I pull up Danger. I start listening to it. I was so freaked out by what I heard and what he wrote. So he explains in the song that the original key was changed. Bob did get a stab at it, but then we kind of were able to salvage some of what he played and use some of it. It's so easy to change the key. Even back then, they knew tricks to manipulate. So let's say you're in one key and suddenly you're in another key. You could probably take things and fly it in and make it work. So to me, and I played it for Todd again today over my phone when we were working. And I remember sharing it with those guys, because we always have a group text together called the mob text, I call it. Right? We share goofy things from, it could be the silliest joke, or it could be.
We know what you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So I remember saying, like, you got to listen to this. I swear Bob starts the solo at 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Check it out. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I'm positive, knowing my brother's playing, unless, Vinny's alive, and I think the other part is Vinny. So Vinny could say whether or not what one was or not, but I'd rather go with my instinct that that's my brother that starts that solo, and Michael kind of says it in that. And now we can't ask Michael James Jackson to clarify, of course, but I think Bob played on Danger, and probably not his, like, nowhere near his whole performances on it, just like 4 bars, maybe a little longer. And there it is. And then all of a sudden you could tell, I know by the style of riffs, that it's someone like a Vinnie Vincent or a Rick Derringer or somebody different. It's not my brother, because it's a certain chromatic style of playing that I know Vinnie is great at, that my brother would not have chosen those notes. but the overbend and the intro and a couple of the phrases sounds like my brother. So thank you for putting it on the list.
Yeah.
Because again, it connected the dots of that story that I read that again, one of my big, friends who was an archivist, shared with me that I didn't know. And it once again puts all the pieces of the puzzle together that I would hope that Bob knew it. And I hope he wasn't as hurt about it, because I remember at the time when they didn't go with his time in the studio, he did feel bad about it. You know what I mean? And I wish I knew more about working with KISS to say to him, Bob, tell them to give you one more shot, that you want to be session guy. But I'm sure Bob was in that mode that he was so like hyped up on what he felt KISS should be, that maybe he didn't want to be produced. Okay. But look at the magic on Paul's record. And I'm positive that Paul worked with him, and those guys, they don't put up with nonsense from anybody. If anybody, they'll roll their eye and they're just next, you know what I mean? Why should they? You know what I mean?
Right.
They're KISS and they know it, and they have the power to do that. And that's why no one's gonna, even though, they'll cover their tracks and maybe not say, well, cause you're not playing ball with us. You know what I mean? They just say like, all right, Bob, cool. Okay. And then that's it. They don't call him back. And then they go to the next. I mean, who would ever think Robin Ford would be on a KISS record? I blow away some of the guys in Grand Funk because they know some of these other players, and they're not KISS fans. And I'll go like, oh yeah, Robin Ford's playing the solo and I Still Love You. What? Because one of my friends is a big, the keyboard player, Tim, is a big Robin Ford fan. He loves jazz fusion, and Robin can play anything on the guitar. Steve Ferris, Mr. Yacht Rock Joy, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And yet he plays this killer solo for Creatures of the Night. Who would know, So, and I had a lot of fun interpreting his solo for when I had to play Creatures.
You killed it.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I made it my own. And that was one of the joys of my 12 years was I was never told. I was given some tapes that said, here's, some of what Ace played and here's some of what Vinny played, but we want you to play what's right for the song. Just do your best. And I never really got directed a micro tune to play exact, but I always had a good instinct for that, which is why I work well in other projects and Grand Funk and other things, because I never want to destroy the essence of a song. I want to take what they did, what's the theme of the song, make it a bit my own, but the signature riffs have to be there. They got to be there. And I'll give you one other thing that proved it. When Bob and I did the Meatloaf tour, there was long rehearsals for that. Dual guitar playing. My brother was not the kind of guy who wanted to copy and learn note for note certain things. He just had his thing and he did it great. And I remember I was like, oh my God, Todd Rundgren, listen to these riffs, because it's only Todd Rundgren playing. And Todd is a monster lead player. He just is. He loved Eric Clapton. Eric gave him a guitar. George Harrison knew him. They all knew him. I mean, he was just like, I think George, but I knew Todd. I knew that Eric knew him. Anyway, I'm learning the solo in Bat Out of Hell, right? So I'm doing all the stuff that was classic Todd, which is hard, I remember the manager, who could be really difficult. He came over to me. He goes like, really loved you learn Todd's parts. That was great. They all loved my brother. Don't get me wrong. But Bob had fun in that band doing what the way he wanted to interpret that album. You see what I mean? And I got the dirty work. You know what I mean? Where I had to dig in and learn it. But then look at how the irony of years later, me honoring and celebrating his fantastic, relationship to KISS and studying his riffs now and going, fuck, and spending an hour on on a couple of riffs in a verse. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get every nuance, and knowing our DNA was similar. You know what I mean? I always felt I could do it better and better. And in the end, he won. I could never play Larger Than Life like him. I could never do every riff in Goodbye like him. I could get close, but he just had a unique approach that I hope he knows. I know the fans know the contribution, but I hope he knows it in heaven. What he did for this body of work for KISS. Beautiful. And other artists. Beautiful. How many people got to tell me Crimson Idol, best Wasp song, best album ever, and Blackie Lawless was so out of his mind when Bob passed away.
Yeah.
So look, he made his mark, And I know he didn't always believe it towards the end, or he believed it in a way that wasn't healthy, to be honest. But his what he left behind, nobody can argue with. You know, it was all brilliant.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So, you know, what an honor for Tom and I to sit here and have the capability to be like, so what do you think about this danger? Is that and go to the source and have Bruce Kulik be like, yeah, I can tell that beginning part, my gut tells me that's my brother.
My opinions, it sounds like it.
Like, to me, you just saying this and us having the ability to ask you is one of the most surreal moments that's ever happened in my life as a music fan.
It's an honor, Bruce.
To do this and to have you just talk about the music of Bob and KISS and the music that you've contributed to all our lives, because, you know, anybody listening to this is not listening to this because they are fans of Madonna. They're fans of KISS.
No, absolutely. And this is great.
Incredible.
Your take as super fans, you know, and yet I love that you guys are honest. When you think a song's a dog, you say it, you know. So I give you guys a lot of credit for that. And here we are celebrating, you know, what he did, and it's the right time. Maybe a year ago would have been too soon.
Yeah,
but it's the right time, and I'm really, really happy about that. And I also wanted to mention, you know, I've always been sensitive about, you know, Bob's, you know, like how I'm celebrating his stuff, and this is perfect. But on a note that, because there's a certain merch item that I'm finally offering, but I haven't talked about it, so I give you guys kind of the exclusive.
Nice.
Okay.
Some of the fans out there know that I was approached by this guy who was really talented with making graphics of my guitars, actually putting them on T-shirts and pillows. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans that got them love them. They're really fun. No, there isn't it's not a giant Bruce Kulik on it. There isn't a KISS logo, of course. There isn't, but it's my guitars and stuff. And of course, he did some for Bob's instruments, the race car looking car guitar from ESP, and he did one for the skull on the pickguard guitar, which was very well known. He did stuff on quite a few performances and live with different people. So all the money for those two items, I wanted to think about it, and I talked with Aaron, the guy who came up with, and it's called Guitar Nut Tees. All this stuff's on my website, and also that will take you right to his site, so you're not really even buying it from brucekulik.com. But all the money, and I had a big discussion with Lisa about it. We knew that Bob and Stella were both big animal lovers. Okay. They would feed the squirrels. They bring in any wounded animal. He didn't even want to kill a bug, a mosquito. Yeah. But he was even kind to, you know, any creature. Okay. He was sometimes kindest to the creatures, if you know what I mean, between the cats, dogs. And we decided we wanted to be local because Bob did have over, you know, 5-6 years here in Las Vegas. So we know of a great, organization here that takes care of all kinds of animals called Barn Buddies. And they have a great charity, and a dear friend of mine who's the big rock radio girl here on the Point 97.1, Lark Williams. She loves this. She's always volunteering for Barn Buddies. So I reached out to her and I said, all right, these guys are good, right? Because I won all the pillow and t-shirt money. If anyone buys something with Bob's iconic guitars on them, that all the money Aaron knows to send it to, you know, the Barn Buddies. And she said, no, they're great. They're great. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. So now I'll make a mention of it once I know your podcast is out there, because again, you know, I think that connects the dots again for Bob with his legacy, knowing what an animal lover he was. So,
wonderful. Amazing. That's
an
incredible,
awesome
Bruce.
To your brother, buddy.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I mean, one last thing I wanted to kind of see if that we can get out of you.
Okay.
We've got 18 songs here. Do you have favorites?
Well, Goodbye certainly is one of my favorites. And probably anything I did on that cruise would have been, because, you know, the great thing about having a killer band is everybody's got great ideas, but the great thing is when you're the leader, which, you know, Gene was the leader of his gig, you know what I mean? Because we threw things at him. Brent and I tried to manipulate him in a way, you know. But the buck stops with the name on the marquee. It's going to be Gene Simmons. In my case, it was Bruce Kulik. So in my case, I don't care how much they wanted to rally for a song or not. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? Amazing. Goodbye. Naked City, again, some of these were new things for me. Nowhere to Run had to be done. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yep.
Now that I realize how much Bob did on Mr. Speed, we could have done that, and I could have played all the Bob riffs. You know what I mean?
Right.
How cool is that?
Yep.
But no doubt, Larger Than Life and All American Man, Tonight You Belong. It's just this killer stuff. But if it was going to be, like one, it would be, or two, it would be Larger Than Life and Goodbye. Those things are just incredible. But again, everyone's got their own favorites, and it's never really about that. I got, nearly threatened for my life over choosing God Gave Rock and Roll or damn,
don't listen to the handful of lunatic fans that we have. It's okay.
It's not even a KISS song. What do you mean it's not a KISS song? The lyrics.
We get that all the time from people like,
I know.
How are your fans? Are your KISS fans a little crazy? Like some of the kids were like, don't worry.
Don't ask.
Our guys.
Yeah. You got to respect their passion, though. So, but everyone should know. I mean, there's one thing about, look, we all deal with a lot of complicated things, between inflation and politics, and there's always things dealing with. Okay, but you can discuss music, but please don't argue over it in a crazy way.
Well said.
And because it's such a it's subjective. Let's face it. I have friends that love, Norwegian death metal. You know what I mean? And I can't listen to that. Okay.
Yep.
And some of them are fans of mine. You know what I mean? So go figure. Right. Yep. But the point is, music's for everyone. It's a gift. Thank God we all could get these wonderful emotions. I could literally cry from a musician or a song. I could be so moved just from hearing, music notes. I don't have to, I see Lisa knows. I could see, sometimes I see a video in my head from just a song, or I see like how someone would dance to something, music is just, it's life. It's joy. And it's such one of the really biggest gifts that we have as human beings. So fighting over it's stupid. Makeup, no makeup, who sang it, who did it, but it's all bullshit. Give me a fucking break,
We have fun with that, Bruce, all the time. We always give everybody a hard time about hey, it's fake Ace. Like, grow up. You don't like it, don't listen. Why do you care? It's whatever. But the one last thing I want to leave you with is, if you decide to throw Mr. Speed in, can you please do it as Bob's demo sounds?
That's the way I would do it. It's the only way I could do it. Yeah. And I swear, before this podcast, and you're showing me the list, so I'd be prepared. I knew he was involved on some things, but I thought it was just Naked City. I didn't even realize. I go, what's Mr. Speed doing on this list? Yep. So thank you.
Well, Bruce, that's a perfect way to end. And you're thanking us. We can't thank you. This has been beyond incredible, amazing. We love you. We've always loved you, Bruce. I mean, if it's possible to love you even more, for spending time and honoring your brother with this amazing tribute with some of our favorite songs from a great era. We can't thank you enough, Bruce. It's always amazing having you on. Thank you so much for giving us your time and your thoughts and all this. It's amazing.
My pleasure. And of course, brucekulik.com. That's where they can find out about those pillows and t-shirts by my brother. And my YouTube channel. All the links are there. If anyone's, and again, if you want to, what wouldn't be bad is you guys make a mention of that, where they could watch that. I don't know if someone's got it.
Sure.
The YouTube of the Bob tribute performed by Todd Kearns, Brent Fitz, Zach Throne, and myself. Do not miss that, including the 2017 concert that, was done with my brother. Yep. Okay. That was magic. And then, of course, my video that, the loving tribute to my brother's career, where a lot of people, I didn't know that, lately I've been sharing some old stuff of my career that people go, Good Rats? You played in the Good Rats? What? Wait a minute.
I saw that today.
Saw that post today. Yeah.
So you see what I mean? And I think it's great that people kind of connect the dots with everything where Bob, came from. And that's why that video was such a joy. And Lisa and I realized we couldn't get to all of it because I didn't want it to be more than 20 minutes. I really didn't have the energy, time, or ability to but it probably could have been an hour documentary of his career. But either way, it served its purpose and shared the wealth of projects that he was involved with and the bands that he performed in. So thank you guys again. I love the KISS community. Thank you for all the KISS fans. Keep in touch, and we'll do this again about another fun subject, I'm sure.
Absolutely, Bruce. Thank you so much.
Bruce Kulick. Thank you again, Bruce.
All right. Cheers.
Incredible interview. More than we could have ever expected. Bruce came prepared We talked about this list of songs, obviously, prior to him coming onto the show, so he gave him time to prepare some notes and some research and some data, as we did too. It was really nice for us to give Bruce this platform to pay tribute to his brother and to talk about these songs that we all love. And I'll be honest with you, you guys have listened to the show long enough, an era of KISS that me and Zeus love. 77 to 82, that sweet spot of KISS where a lot of interesting things happened. Bob was right there in the thick of it, and just the love that Bruce has for his brother, and talking about these songs and playing them, talking about how difficult some of them were, and crediting Bob's ability and talent. It was just a really exceptional interview.
Yeah, the depth of the conversation and how detailed Bruce got.
Yeah.
The facts that he dropped, the opinion, the analysis. No one knows this stuff better than Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
To talk about the style and that amazing tidbit where he's like mentioning the album Creatures of the Night in Danger. And Bruce is like, I can't say for sure, but that beginning of that solo sounds like my brother Bob.
He knows the sound.
And then afterwards, it's somebody different. It's probably Vinny. But those first couple notes, and then he dug into the Creatures box set to get more information and stuff that he know. And from his expert analysis and his theory, and Tom and I were kind of just like, dude, I asked Bruce Kulick directly about a song that's one of my favorites, and I got to ask him.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yep.
Yeah, we Bruce has become a friend of the show, and we try not to fanboy with him, but he is so incredible with his time to the KISS fans and the KISS community. And he saved this, no offense, for us.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing the circuit with this conversation. He wanted to do it the right way, and he shared it with us. And when I say us, I'm not saying Tom and I. I'm saying Loudcasters. Mm-hmm. This show, this audience, Bruce decided to do that here to get this emotional, topic discussed about his brother, his brother's incredible contribution to KISS. And he came on our show to do this, and we were blown away. At some point in the middle of the conversation, I'm texting Tom like, are you fucking believing this? Like, how awesome this is going? You can have interviews with people. It just gets cold or boring, things like that. Not Bruce.
Yeah. It was incredible. And then to top all that incredible information and topic and discussion, he then drops that he's maybe thinking about making like a BK4 album and potentially dropping recordings of rehearsals he had with his brother Bob. Things like that. Just incredible stuff. I mean, again, you guys love Bruce. We love Bruce. Him coming on and taking the time and putting so much care and energy. And as I said earlier, what a tribute to his brother. Talking about an era of KISS that we love, that side 4 of Alive 2, Paul's solo album, Killers, just what a great interview. And I mean, if you couldn't love Bruce more, I mean, my goodness.
And he also dropped the third piece of news was that he's doing those guitar shirts that he's been doing for himself. He's doing them now for Bob.
That's right.
With, proceeds going to one of Bob's favorite charities. Mm-hmm. That's the third thing he dropped with us.
Yeah.
But a couple of personal things that I loved hearing is him going into details about Mr. Speed demo with us. You guys know how much I brag about how much I love that and with the different version, and hearing Bruce analyze that and break that down. One of the greatest thrills I've ever had on this show. In addition to that, stuff like me telling Bruce, I mean, I remember Bob saying in interviews, ain't quite right. That kind of guitar playing, Ace Frehley can't do that. Mm-hmm. And Bob was like, and Bruce was like, yeah, that's true. But did you ever hear Ace do this in 100,000 years in 75? Bob can't do that. I can't do that. He was so gracious about it. It's like, yeah, And Bruce is always the constant professional. He's not putting anybody down to lift himself up. And he's giving his brother so much praise, but without taking it away from Ace.
Yeah.
And it just shows you what a class act Bruce is. And overall, it just endears him to me, to the KISS fans, even more.
Yeah, and even including that little conversation we had at the beginning about Bob's audition with KISS, when Ace kind of took that, the role as lead guitarist, just that little bit of an insight. Just great, great. Yeah, just great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah. I may even differ from him. I may think I think Bob would have been just fine in KISS, and KISS would have been just fine with him. But he's like, no, Ace was, and that's probably an easier thing for him to say because it's his brother, but no. Yeah. That's why Bruce is just the greatest. Again, people, I can't, I'm so happy we got this conversation and that you guys got a chance to listen to it. We hope that you guys are as thrilled and entertained and amazed as we are about this.
Yes.
Bruce, this was all Bruce. Just incredible.
Yep.
All right, Tom, what we do next is we go to question of the week. You got any?
Yeah, we got a question from one of our new Patreons, Nicola Cassieri.
Oh,
Nick starts off. This is topical. Hey, guys. So I had to read this for a couple reasons. He says, hey, guys, he sent this to us today. While on the road to Pittsburgh to see Quarantine tonight, I revisited Asylum. Then I find your review of it. Just wondering, did Quarantine's cover of Love's a Deadly Weapon change your opinion of the song at all, either positively or negatively?
I would say it improved my liking of the song, probably because it had nowhere to go but up.
I think that's as funny as that is. I think it's perfectly stated because, Nick, I'll be honest with you. I thought that song was, I thought it was not my style of KISS. And going back and listening to their version and then going back and listening to the KISS Asylum version, I like it now. I've grown to appreciate it.
Yeah. No offense to our friend West Beach of the Plasmatic.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
No.
But then again, he's not a fan of a lot of our music either. So sorry, Wes.
Yeah. But I'll be honest with you, Nick, and I have a greater appreciation for all the songs that Quarantine has done. I mean, No, it was okay. But then hearing them do it, I'm like, oh, yeah, this song kind of kicks ass. Just the Quarantine, and that's what I love about it. They're digging deep undercover.
Yeah.
For all these songs. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, their version improved my enjoyment of the original.
Great question, Nick. Tom, tell people where they can find us.
Always the website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes. Shout It Out Loudcast, Album Review Crew, Dorm Damage, Zeppelin Chronicles. There's also links to our Patreon, links to our merch, links to our Amazon store, links to all of our social media. You can send us messages directly through the website. You can comment on episodes directly on the website. So that's the best place to go. Start right there. And if you want to send us a message via our email, you can do that too at shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com. We read every single email that comes our way, and we try to get to all of them during the show. So please do that. And of course, our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please check us out. And again, a huge thanks to everybody in our Patreon family, but especially our new members, Joseph, Trent, and Mike. We can't thank you guys enough. Amazing. And we always like to mention that we are a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network of music shows.
Yeah, Tom, I always tell people they can DM us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is constantly growing. We're putting more and more stuff up there. So make sure you check that out and subscribe and give us one of those 5-star child reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Facebook, Podchaser, wherever you can give a 5-star review, please do so. And when you do, we usually read them on the air and make sure we give you a shout out. I always like to repeat the email, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com, shoutitoutloudcast@gmail.com, and our awesome website, shoutitoutloudcast.com, shoutitoutloudcast.com. Go there. You can get all your merch, your Amazon store, the rankings, all the episodes. Anything you could think of is right there on the website. We love it when you take a look around and see what you like. Again, shoutitoutloudcast.com. What we usually do is we end with famous last words. Tom, do you got any?
Oh, of course. Are you ready to rock, babe? She saw me coming for miles. So let me see what you got. 'Cause, darling, you'll be driving me wild.
Are you ready to rock?
She's all right.
All right. In the morning, moving easy. Everything seems so right. But when the night comes, I've been dreaming about leaving you one more time.
Oh.
Bruce Kulick, Tom, Loudcasters, KISS Army. Thank you.
Bruce Kulik, we can't thank you enough, my friend. Thank you for an incredible interview, an amazing episode. Everybody out there, Loudcasters, Patreons, everybody, thank you guys. Zeus, as always, my friend, thank you.
Peace out, Girl Scout.
Why? Because I'm a nice guy.